All right. It looks like we're going. I'm gonna go fix the chat thing real quick because I forgot I have to do this every time. Every time I have to do this in order to get the top chat or to get all the chat to show. Otherwise, channel videos, yeah, dashboard. I don't know, dude. I can't even get to it. Here, how about like this? Ta-da, your channel, right? And I'm currently live, right? And then I have to switch
Here,
my
how about
chat
like
from
this?
top
Ta-da,
chat. Your channel.
Oh.
Shut up. Okay, to all live messages so I can see everybody talking. Yay, let me close this one now. Okay, let's begin. Whoop. Anyways, all right, yeah, that's enough. That's enough. Hello. Welcome. Good morning to yet another episode of Redstone Lapis Lazuli. Good morning. It is Sunday. Sunday. Uh, it is like the super. Oh wait, here, let me switch it back over to here. Java, and then like that, back to game, and then okay, there we go. All right, and then you can see, oh, what a beautiful sunrise. Beautiful sunrise, beautiful sunrise, beautiful sunrise. Just, and then, like, where am I? uh, I am, on a platform that I made. Get in the minecart if you want to live. All right, this is world spawn. This is when you pop into my world and you first arrive. You arrive somewhere around here. You pop into the world somewhere around here, naked, with nothing. Naked, no food, no nothing, right? Nothing. So I figure if you're gonna pop into the world, you're gonna need some way to get to where I live. You might see that up in the air, and you might want to go to it. But because you have like nothing and you're naked, you wouldn't necessarily be able to get there. Like the way I got there before that was built was I jumped in the water. Oh, what? Oh, there was a creeper under there, I guess. All right, well, it just blew up a tree. Bad creeper. Anyways, yeah, I jumped in the water and I swam, and that was like really dangerous because there are zombies like the drowned that live under the water and will kill you. So so for a new person hopping in who might get blown up by a creeper, like they would have been like, if it was anyone else other than me, they would have been blown up by this creeper. But I have like massive armor. Massive armor. So I am not afraid. I am not afraid. Bop. But for a new person who has nothing, yeah, they would rightly be afraid. So I made this nice platform. A nice welcoming place. You would come here, you would just hop in the minecart, and it would take you to where to safety. It would take you to safety. And all this is stuff here if you need it. But like, you don't need it because you just hop in the minecart. Yeah, and then so in addition to the safety station, I also made this rail line. Isn't it nice? Yes. It's a pretty spiffy rail line. I mean, it's a little more hidden than the others. A little more like underground, I guess you can say. Because the point was just to get you to the base. Not really to be flashy about it. So I'm under the bridge. Now I'm under the the everything. That's the old villager breeder. And over there is the melon farm. Oh! Like it's happening really fast, so it's kind of hard to know what's going on. All right, now I'm here. So let me show you off. That was the world spawn. So basically, what happens is you get in minecart, you come over here, you're gonna come along this way, and it's gonna send you off to this direction, and that leads you to a big it's a drop. It drops you straight down to there, and then you go off off in that direction. So let's example. Boom. Except you wouldn't take any damage because you're in a minecart. And then you would continue onto your journey. And then you've already seen what happens when we come back, right? We come back and we turn this way, and we slide upon the ice into the water stream, which brings us up to here, and then we continue on our merry way. So rather than do like this janky incline up here, I just did an elevator. It's a lot of work. It's kind of a lot of work, and it takes a lot of space. Like it takes up it took up like two. It took up at least two tracks. So if I were to do this again, I'd have to wait to that one. I'd have to skip. Anyways. So there's that. Okay, what else have I done? I had to turn off the melon farm. I am absolutely loaded with melons. I'm done. I'm finished. I can't trade away all these melons. I can't get rid of them all. So I so I just put power in there continually. Constant power to push down all the pistons. So there's no room for any pumpkins or melons to grow, because they would just sit there and rot, and then, well, they would just sit there and then take up, and then like make lag, create lag for no reason. So I had to turn it off. Then finally, let me show you the last thing I worked on. The Warded Grove. So this is a little bit different, huh? I like the way the light looks. It's all like spooky. I might want to change those torches out with lanterns. So pretty neat, right? I like this this line. It's scary, it's spooky. And then look at this. Oh, whoa. What? Oh, I'm holding a minecart. How did I pick up a minecart? Anyways, yeah, I made a gate. I forgot what are these called again? Toji gates? I don't know. I forgot. I got to go look it up again. But yeah, these are important, right? These are important. These gates in Japanese culture symbolize the I don't know, the threshold between the mundane world, the regular world out here, and then the spiritual world coming in here. Now you're in a sacred place. Now things are different. Like out here it's just regular mundane stuff. Like, you know, the world is the world. But once you're in here, now things change. Now things are special. Things take on a different meaning. Okay, yeah, and then what have I done? I mean, like, I haven't really worked on hello, monk, hello, hi, how you doing? I finished the Zen garden, the dry garden, which I think is pretty nice, right? That looks pretty neat. That's a pretty neat thing. For not knowing what I'm doing. It looks nice. I need to finish it though, right? So I want it to come over to this side. And then make the Shinto shrine, because you have to understand, in Japan, like Buddha, so the pagoda is Buddhism. Buddhism did not originate from Japan. Buddhism came from India. Buddhism originated in India with Siddhartha. Siddhartha. But yeah, he's the he was the first person to create Buddhism, and then from India, it traveled from India to Nepal, to China, and then finally over to Japan. So, and then when it got to Japan, of course, every time Buddhism traveled from one culture to another culture, it changed. It adapted to whatever culture it was in. That's the thing about Buddhism. it was just like, it is, but not at, I mean, at first it was kind of weird, right? So by the time it got to, by the time it got to Japan, like, Japan already had a religion. It already had a religion. Its religion was Shinto. Shinto was a belief in like nature spirits, called kami. And there are like lots and lots and lots and lots of kami. They're all over the place. Uh-oh. Did I just spill coffee in my keyboard? I hope not. I saw it go drip drip. But yeah. And so when Buddhism came to Japan, the Shinto, the people who follow Shinto, they weren't happy with it. Because, you know, the nobility, which was located in Nara. Nara was the first capital of Japan. When Japan was finally unified, for a long time Japan was not unified. It was several little warring factions that were all fighting for power. And eventually, I don't know the exact history, but they came under one emperor, one ruler, and the capital was in Nara Prefecture. Nara is a huge valley in Japan, in the west of Japan, the southwest, I guess, of Japan. Well, but near Osaka, between Osaka and Kyoto. And it is like, it's a valley that is not at all connected to the ocean. So, unlike almost everything else in Japan that has a connection to the sea, Nara is not connected to the ocean. Nara City. And so, it was a huge farming region, and it made lots, you could farm lots and lots of crops there, and you're protected from like the weather. Hurricanes and typhoons didn't really affect Nara as much because it was in the mountain valleys. It was protected by the mountains from all sides. So that's where the capital was, and Buddhism came and became really, really, really popular with the Japanese nobility, or with the emperor. And Buddhism sprung up everywhere. There are temples and stuff everywhere, which made the Shinto people angry. Like, there are big fights about the whole thing. There are huge fights about whether or not, like, there was too much influence of Buddhism on the nobility. And it was such a big deal that they literally moved the capital out of Nara, because Nara had become like the Buddhist like capital. Nara was like the Buddhist central for a while, right? It was super influential. It was super influential. And then so yeah, they left. They went to Kyoto, and they kept, Shinto and Buddhism fought, and eventually they stopped fighting. They just stopped fighting each other, and now they live side by side, like totally fine. Every place there's a Buddhist temple, there's a Shinto shrine. Every place, every single place, every single, like, they're two different religions. Two different religions, but they live in the same place. Every holy place, like, I wouldn't say every holy place. No, because I remember seeing Shinto shrines in Osaka, and there was no Buddhist equivalent nearby. At least I didn't notice. But yeah, Shinto shrines, yeah. But they coexist. They're able to coexist with one another, and just totally be cool. So I think that's pretty neat, that these two religions were able to just like hash it out and just coexist with each other. Yeah. Okay. What else? I don't want to stand out here, man. I'm afraid. I mean, I kind of lit up the place, but still, it's scary. This is where I want the. I want to make a shrine here and a pond. A pond. Okay. What else do I have? I can. Let's look at my stuff. Actually, I should put a campfire up here, so it's not so dark and dangerous. Dark and dangerous. Campfire. Holding a giant fire in my hand. Alrighty then. Yeah, nice. So what happened? What happened? Man, there's a lot to talk about. Like, but not really. Not really. There's not really a lot to talk about. I have a lot of stuff, but I don't know if it's all like. Okay, I gotta first talk about the first thing I found, because it's the thing that's like hanging in front of my head. And I told the story like 2 times already because I was so excited when I found out, when I figured it out. I couldn't stop talking about it. So I'm gonna tell it again. So we all know that around the country, kids are falling sick when they're exposed to information. And it's happening a lot, and it happens so much that various state legislatures have passed laws in order to protect these kids who are getting sick. So I'm sure you've heard about it, right? This came up, I think, a few years ago. I think in 2022, kids all over the country were getting sick at school. They would get sick when the teacher would be giving a lesson, and the kids would start getting sick, and then they'd have to leave class, and then like the schools couldn't figure out what's going on. Why are kids getting sick? And they came to the wrong decision. A lot of these schools came to the wrong decision. They decided that in order to save kids from getting sick, they're going to stop the lesson that makes them sick. And I can see why, right? Because they don't understand. They don't understand why it's happening. So since they don't understand why it's happening until they can figure it out, they'll just stop the lessons until they can like work it out. All right. So, however, that's the wrong thing to do. That's like the wrong thing to do. Because here, and I'll tell you why. Anyways, so we'll keep going. So all over the country, kids are getting sick when they're at school. All over the country. Until one teacher in South Carolina finally uncovered the secret. Finally found a way to figure out why, not only why these kids are getting sick, but how we can determine when they are sick, when they have the thing inside of them that makes them sick. Because it's not the lesson that makes them sick. It's not the information that's making these kids sick. There's a disease inside these kids already. It's already there. And whenever they're exposed to information, that makes the disease inside the kids, makes them sick, makes them get sick. It doesn't happen to other kids, right? You can look around all these other kids. It doesn't happen to them. So it's not the information that's making these kids sick. It's something inside these kids, something inside them. So this teacher in South Carolina discovered a way to find which kids have this disease inside of them. Because remember, this disease makes kids get sick whenever they're exposed to information. So let me get down to it a little bit more. Where's the first page? There it is, the first page. Oh, I have to show it. about The State? I read this in The State by Bristol Marchant, June 12th. So this happened last week. This is something great. Midlands teacher's lesson on racism halted after complaints, citing state law. Remember, it's not the information that makes kids sick, it's the disease inside of them. So Midlands teacher's lessons on racism halted because the state doesn't understand why these kids are getting sick. Since the state doesn't understand why these kids are getting sick, it's just going to remove the thing that makes them ill. But it's not actually removing the thing that makes them ill. The thing that makes them ill is inside the kids. That's the problem. That's the mistake, right? That's the mistake. After complaints of illness, kids felt sick. Kids got sick when they heard lessons on racism. Is it because the lessons are bad? No. It's because something inside the kids are making them sick when they're exposed to this information. It's not making the other kids sick. It's just these particular kids that get sick. Okay. 2. So, students in an advanced placement language arts class at Chapman High School last spring were scheduled to read Between the World and Me, a 2015 memoir by writer Tanishi Coates, recapping American racial history and its impact on his life growing up black in inner city Baltimore. The memoir was written in the form of a letter addressed to Coates' teenaged son. So, this book is studied as part of the argument essay unit for the AP Language Exam teacher Mary Wood. AP Language Exam teacher Mary Wood wrote regarding the book's inclusion in her lesson plan. One of several documents related to the class released by the Lexington Richmond 5 School District as part of a Freedom of Information request. Elsewhere, Woods says she taught the same book the previous year without any controversy. So kids didn't get sick the previous year. They only got sick this year. And it's been happening, right? It's been happening around the country. Kids randomly get sick when they're exposed to information about racism. It's been happening a lot. The lesson plan released as part of the document's request prompts students to analyze and respond to some of Coates' arguments in the book. Instructions include describe Coates' primary statement regarding identity and your position about his argument. So they want you to read this book and they want you to be able to say, all right, what is this guy trying to argue? And what do you think about his argument? That's the question she's asking. That's the question she's asking. What did this guy write, and what do you think about this? And then it says, do you think racism is a pervasive problem in America? Why or why not? Right? This sounds like pretty basic, like, high school, like, college prep stuff, right? You're starting to ask critical questions. Not only are you supposed to read something and pull out of what the main idea of what they're reading, now we have to say, well, is this idea any good? Yes? No? Why? Pretty basic stuff, right? Pretty basic stuff. Like if you can't do that, you're not ready for college. All right. But the class didn't get far in its assessment of the National Book Award winner after at least some students expressed discomfort. Some students got sick. Discomfort is sickness, right? When you're nauseous, you're not comfortable, are you? Because you're sick. So these kids got sick with 2 short videos. So students got sick with 2 videos. They found 2 videos that made them get sick. They weren't sick before, but when they saw these videos, the thing inside them made them get sick. The thing inside them made them get sick. Okay. So at least some students expressed discomfort with 2 short videos played in class as preparation for the book. So they haven't even gotten to the book yet. They didn't even get to the book. Right? They didn't even get to the book yet. Like, here's this book you're supposed to be able to read, but before we read this book, let's watch these videos. And as these videos were being watched, no other kid was bothered. Only 2 kids got sick. 2 kids of the entire class got sick. They were watching this video. They're like, oh, they got sick, dude. They got sick. They got sick. Okay. So they stopped the class. And then these kids, they wrote to the, they didn't talk to the teacher, right? After they puked in class, they didn't literally puke, but they got sick. After they got sick in class, they didn't say, hey teacher, I'm getting sick watching these. Can I be excused? They didn't ask the teacher. They didn't say, hey teacher, like, can we take care of this? This is the problem. Instead, they went home and wrote a letter to the teacher's boss. What? You got sick in class watching a video, and instead of telling the teacher, you wrote to the teacher's boss? That sounds like, to me, you're trying to get the teacher in trouble. When you don't talk to the person and instead you go to their boss, that tells me you're trying to get the teacher in trouble. Anyways, this student went home and wrote to the teacher's boss, wrote a letter to the teacher's boss after they got sick watching this video. And the student wrote, hearing the teacher's opinion and watching these videos made me sick. They made him sick. You know how uncomfortable? Sick. And made the kids sick. You're like, puke. When you're nauseous, sick. Made these kids sick. One unnamed student wrote to a school board member, to the boss, after the class. Right? The student couldn't tell the teacher. No, they told the teacher's boss. Quote, I actually felt ashamed to be Caucasian. That's weird. Why? Why would you feel ashamed to be Caucasian? So wait, you were studying a lesson on racism and you felt ashamed to be Caucasian? This is a good time to practice your skills. This is when you pull out the main idea of the lesson and then you say if you agree with it, yes, no, why or why not. This is the perfect time for the student to do this, right? This is exactly what this lesson's about. So this person pulled out of these lessons shame for Caucasians. Why? Why did this person pull out? Because I'm not saying if that's right or wrong. All I'm saying is, okay, support your statement, right? The same thing. It's basic stuff. Support your statement. You think you pull out of these videos shame for Caucasian. Okay, support your statement. So the way they support the statement, these videos portrayed an inaccurate description of life. I thought you were a student. I thought you were a high school kid. How do you know? How do you know that they're inaccurate? Where did that come from? That's not a supporting statement. That doesn't support. I feel ashamed to be Caucasian because this is an inaccurate description. Wait. Say that again, student. You are ashamed. You pulled out of this lesson, I'm ashamed to be Caucasian because these are lies. You're telling lies about us. Why would they match? If they're lies, why do you care? From past centuries. They portray an inaccurate description of life from past centuries. So she's talking about the past. These videos are talking about the past. And these videos show antiquated history. Antiquated history? Old history? Historic history? I don't think this child is ready for AP language. To be honest. I don't. This child is not ready. I mean, look what they wrote. Look what they wrote. They pulled out of the video a crazy idea. They can't support it. They support it with like contradictions. They try to support their crazy idea with contradicting statements. And then he says, I understand. So he says that the lesson is wrong, that the thing they're telling is wrong, and that everything in the history is old. So he's telling the teacher, hey teacher, let me tell you what's up, right? And then continues. I understand in AP language we are learning to develop an argument and have evidence to support it, yet this topic is too heavy to discuss. You just told the teacher she was wrong. You just told the teacher she was wrong. How is it too heavy if you know more than the teacher? In fact, why don't you tell us why? Oh, you can't. You can't. Oh, you can't. You can't. You can't. You can't. You can't do it. You can't do it. You have a bunch of contradictory statements. You can't do it. You're not ready for this class, dude. What are you doing complaining to the boss of that you're not ready for the class? Here, let's continue. Another student, a different student, wrote that Woods prefaced the lesson with, hopefully I don't get fired for this. Right? Because Ms. Woods is keenly aware that she exists within a white supremacist society. We all do, right? The United States is a white supremacist society. Here, let's say that again. The United States is a white supremacist society. Pretty bold statement, right? How can I fucking pull this kind of statement out of this mass? You know, all right, right or wrong, whatever. Prove your statement. Okay. The entire history of black Americans. So Ms. Woods understands she exists within a white supremacist society. Ms. Woods understands that South Carolina state legislature passed a law that made it illegal to disparage racism. So South Carolina has state-sanctioned racism. You must teach racism in South Carolina by state law, and Ms. Woods wasn't teaching racism. She wasn't teaching racism. All she was doing was shining a light on it and then asking her students to say yes or no. That's all she had to do. Say yes or no. Say yes or no. And then why. That's all you have to do. This first student failed. Totally. Totally failed. They don't know how to think at all. They can't, right? I mean, like, all you had to do was, what's the main idea? Do you agree? Why or why not? That's it. And they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. All right. The second student said, I was incredibly sick. I was incredibly sick through both videos. So this kid, the second kid who was watching the video was like, and then they weren't like, teacher, I'm getting sick. No, they're like, right to the teacher's boss, this teacher made me get sick in class. They didn't tell the teacher, they wrote a letter to the teacher's boss saying, this teacher made me get sick in class. All right. I was in shock that she would do something illegal like that. Since when was a fucking kid worried about something being illegal or not? That's an adult thinking. This kid's parent is writing this shit down and signing his kid's name to it. That's a bullshit thing to do. Like, when has a kid ever been worried about if something's illegal or not? Especially something so abstract. as critical race theory. like they don't even know you're even talking about it. Oh my God. Okay, the student wrote, no, the parent wrote, adding parenthetically, I am pretty sure a teacher talking about systemic racism is illegal in South Carolina. That's the parent talking. That's the parent talking. The fuck does a kid know about critical race theory legality in South Carolina? Not a goddamn thing, but you can be sure the parent knows because they've been watching Fox News and getting lies fed into their brains directly. Dude, oh my God. All right. For the 2022-2023 school year, South Carolina lawmakers added a proviso to the state budget. Uh-oh, wait a minute. I'm about to die. I'm about to get wrecked by these guys. Let me move out of the way. Run away. I'm about to get wrecked. All right, daytime. Okay. Where was I? All right. Talking about systemic use. Isn't that fucking weird? That it's illegal to talk about racism, systemic racism in South Carolina. How tyrannical is that? That shit's tyrannical. Like, what, is the king gonna come after me if I talk shit about the king? Is that what's gonna happen? Fuck you. For the 2022-2023 school year, South Carolina lawmakers added a proviso to the state budget that prohibited state money from being spent to teach various ideas related to race, including, quote, an individual by virtue of his race or sex is inherently racist. That was nowhere in the lesson, dude. That was nowhere in the lesson. That was nowhere there. That was nowhere. Nowhere does it say an individual is racist by the color of their skin. Nowhere does it say that. Nowhere. Because the parents are too, I don't know. They're not capable of comprehending the nuances of this. Nowhere does it say that individuals are responsible, that individuals are inherently racist by the color of their skin. Nowhere. That is the belief of the racists, of the white supremacists. That's the inherent belief of the white supremacists. That racism is inherent to people. And that's why we have to stratify people, because racism is inherent. That's the argument of the racists that are saying it. Never does Ms. Wood or the videos ever say that an individual is inherently racist because of the color of their skin. Nowhere. That is a straw man argument invented by racists in order to distract from the fact that they're shooting down anti-racist stuff. They're racists who are shooting down anti-racist stuff by calling it racist. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. Like, but these parents are like incredible. I don't know. They must be brainwashed. They've got to be brainwashed. I saw a brainwashed guy the other day. But never mind. All right. Okay. So nowhere does it say this, but there's a law that says that prohibits state money from being spent to teach various ideas related to race, including that an individual by virtue of his race or sex is inherently racist, sexist, or oppressive, bears responsibility for actions committed in the past by other members of the same race or sex, or that an individual should feel discomfort, guilt, or anguish, or any other form of psychological distress on account of his race or sex. Now, wait a minute. Bears responsibility for actions committed in the past by other members of the same race or so that makes it hard, right? That makes it hard. Because as members of society, we all bear some responsibility. We're in society. We're in this thing. We're in it. We get something back from it. We get shelter. Well, some of us get shelter, clothing. Like, we draw our lives from this place, right? From this land. Like, it didn't just magically appear here. It didn't just happen. It wasn't just like made in a land factory. It had to come from somewhere, and that somewhere was genocide of Native Americans and theft and outright conquest. And not only the Native Americans, but the Mexicans. There was a war of conquest in order to seize the West from Mexico. And then all the Mexicans who were living on here, who suddenly became American, like, were suddenly living in the United States. Like, there was a deal made that they could keep their stuff, right? That nothing would change. They're just, you're just changing who you're paying taxes to, until the white settlers showed up and just like robbed all the people of their shit. Like, it was ridiculous. So, like, the fact that we're even here in this country to even have this discussion can only take place because of these past injustices. Now, are we directly responsible for them? Like, I'm not the one who, like, literally killed the couple so I could steal their homestead. I'm not the one who did that. But I live in a country that profited from that injustice. Like, that's one of many. That's one drop in a giant bucket that's used to power the machine of the United States, its prosperity. So yeah, I, like, in some aspects, in some way, I do bear responsibility. Like, I live here. If I'm gonna be a responsible citizen, yes, it's my responsibility to make reparations, to reconcile the past injustices. It's my responsibility as a member of society. How can I get away from it? These people are trying to, like, this whole law is designed to preserve white supremacy. This whole law is designed to preserve white supremacy. So here, let's continue. Wood, however, defended the lesson in a letter she later wrote to the district superintendent, Akil Ross, and the school board. She points out that the course description states that fair representation of issues and peoples may include controversial material. So, since AP students have chosen a program that directly involves them in college-level work, participation in this course depends on a level of maturity consistent with ages of high school students who have engaged in thoughtful analyses of variety of texts, the description says. The best response to controversial language or ideas in a text might well be a question about the larger meaning, purpose, or overall effect of the language or idea in context, which the students did not do. They took that little tiny piece they did not like, and they went to her fucking boss. You only do that if you're trying to get the teacher in trouble. You only do that if you're trying to get the teacher in trouble. They didn't try to engage with it at all. They didn't try it at all. They looked for something to get the teacher in trouble with. That's all they did. And it wasn't even them. It was their parents. The kids just reported it back to their parents, and the parents wrote the letters and then signed the kid's name. Pfft. Woods complained in the letter of a lack of clarity around what the district expects from teachers, and that the school's reaction undermined my classroom integrity and has affected my personal life. She's right. Like, the state is bowing down to white supremacists and attacking its own educational system. She said some of the responses she's gotten to her lessons have made her feel unsafe and even caused her to install a security system at her home. That's crazy. White supremacists got so upset about it that they start threatening her. In this culture, everything may be considered controversial, she said. To prevent conversations about experiences which exist outside of heterosexual Caucasian norms is both biased and discriminatory and completely antithetical to the development of critical thinking and civil discourse, which is the entire point of the AP language course. Contacted by the state for this story, Wood said she fears the policing of teachers' lessons will end up pushing more teachers out of the profession, which already suffers from a shortage of people going into teaching. there's an odd juxtaposition where we are trusted to protect students from armed intruders, but subject to ridicule from community members who proclaim we are indoctrinating children, Wood said. Until we cease to lend a space for vilifying teachers, more of us will leave the classroom. She is completely correct. So, but don't take my word for it. Don't take her word for it either. You know what? Don't take the kids' word for it, right? These kids said they got sick watching these videos. These kids said they got sick watching these videos. You know what? Let's watch the videos and let's see if you get sick. Let's watch those videos. The first video was this one on systemic racism explained.
This is Jamal. Jamal is a boy who lives in a poor neighborhood. He has a friend named Kevin who lives in a wealthy neighborhood. All of Jamal's neighbors are African American and all of Kevin's neighbors are white. Because Jamal's school district is mostly funded by property taxes, his school is not very well funded. His classrooms are overcrowded, his teachers are underpaid, and he doesn't have access to high-quality tutors or extracurricular activities. Kevin's school district is also funded by property taxes, so his school is very well funded. His classrooms are never crowded, his teachers are very well paid, and he has access to high-quality tutors and lots of extracurricular activities. Kevin and...
Alright, stop. In that part, at any point, did it say, Kevin's a racist because he's white? Did you hear any of that anywhere? did you hear that? No, you didn't hear it. It wasn't there because that's what the kid said. The kid said he felt ashamed for being white. The kid said he felt ashamed for being white because he was blamed because he was being blamed for racism. Did you hear it? No? Good. All right. Let's keep going.
Jamal live only a few streets away from each other. So how come they're growing up in such different worlds with such different opportunities for success? The answer has to do with America's history of systemic racism. To understand it better, let's look at what life was like for Kevin and Jamal's grandparents. Decades after the Civil War, many government agencies started to draw maps dividing cities into sections that were either desirable or undesirable for investment.
Now, wait a minute. Is this the ancient history, the antiquated history that they don't want to talk about? Is this the inaccurate history? Like, I didn't know that the student was so well versed in redlining. That's amazing. Why didn't that student could have been amazing? All they had to do was write a paper explaining all of this to the teacher. But instead, they wrote to the teacher's boss saying it was this is wrong and that it's too heavy for this student. Number one, this is wrong, and number two, it's too heavy for me. But I know it's wrong. Ah! Now, have you heard anywhere that says Kevin's a racist because he's white? Did you hear it yet? No? Okay.
Practice was called redlining, and it usually blocked off entire black neighborhoods from access to private and public investment. Banks and insurance companies used these maps for decades to deny black people loans and other services based purely on race.
All right. Did you hear? Did it say Kevin is a racist and he's white and he stopped black people from getting rich? Did you hear that yet? Did you hear it anywhere? No, because I didn't hear it. I heard nothing about it, right?
Historically speaking, owning a home and getting a college education is the easiest way for an American family to build wealth. But when Jamal's grandparents wanted to buy a house, the banks refused because they lived in a neighborhood that was redlined. So Jamal's grandparents were not able to buy a home, and because colleges could prevent them from attending through legal segregation, their options for higher education were really scarce.
All right, anywhere, have you heard? This is Kevin's fault because he's white. Did you hear that anywhere? This is all Kevin's fault because he's white and white people are racist. Did you hear that anywhere? I didn't hear it. Did you hear it? No. Okay, let's keep going.
Kevin's grandparents, on the other hand, got a low-interest loan to buy their first house and got accepted into a handful of top universities, which traditionally only accepted white students. This opened up a wealth of opportunities that they were able to pass on to their kids and grandkids. Even as late as the 1980s, an investigation into the Atlanta real estate market showed that banks were more willing to lend to low-income white families than to middle or upper-income African-American families.
All right, so anywhere, did you hear This is Kevin's fault because he's white and racist. So Kevin made the banks only give money to white people. Did you hear that? Anywhere? Did you hear it anywhere? Anywhere, please. Anywhere. No? No? You don't? Not at all? Okay. Let's keep going.
The result, today, for every $100 of wealth held by a white family, black families have $5.04. A 2017 study confirms that redlining is still affecting home values in major cities like Chicago today. This explains how Kevin and Jamal inherited vastly different circumstances. Unfortunately, the story doesn't end there. A big part.
So far, have you heard anything that says Kevin's a racist because he's white, and Kevin caused the banks to take all the money away from black people? Did you hear any of that? Did you hear that? That white people are doing it? Did you hear it? I haven't heard a damn thing about white people. I haven't heard a thing. I heard banks. I heard school districts. I heard colleges. That's what I heard.
Part of systemic racism is implicit bias. These are prejudices in society that people are not aware that they have. Let's go back to Kevin and Jamal. Against all odds, Jamal manages to be the only student from his high school to get accepted into a great university. The same one that Kevin and his high school friends are attending. But after Kevin and Jamal both graduate, Jamal notices that his resume isn't drawing as much interest as Kevin's, even though they graduated from the same program with the exact same GPA. Unfortunately for Jamal, studies show that resumes with white-sounding names get twice as many callbacks as identical resumes with black-sounding names.
All right, wait. Check. Number one is are you sick? Are you sick yet? Are you puking? No? Okay. Number two, did it say this is Kevin's fault because he's white? This is white people's fault because they're white. White people are racist. Did you hear that anywhere? Anywhere in the video, did you hear that? No? You didn't hear it? Nowhere? Okay.
Implicit bias is one of the reasons why the black unemployment rate is twice the rate of white unemployment, even among college graduates today. You can see evidence of systemic racism in every area of life. The disparities in family wealth, incarceration rates, political representation, and education are all examples of systemic racism.
All right, anything. This is Kevin's fault because he's white, and white people are inherently racist. Did you hear it? No? Because it's not there!
Fortunately, the biggest challenge with systemic racism is that there's no single person or entity responsible for it, which...
Wow, that is the exact opposite thing that the student said. Let's go back to that. The student wrote, I actually felt ashamed to be Caucasian. Why would you feel ashamed to be Caucasian? They never talk about it. In fact, it says you can't blame people for it. It says you can't blame one person. Why would you personally feel ashamed when they don't even talk about you? Are you really writing that letter?
Makes it very hard to solve. So what can you do? The first thing you can do is work towards becoming more aware of your own implicit biases. What are some prejudices that you might hold that you're not aware of? Second, let's acknowledge that the consequences of slavery and Jim Crow laws are still affecting access to opportunity today. As a result, we should support systemic changes that create more equal opportunities for everyone.
Anywhere did it say white people are inherently racist? Did it say it anywhere? No? Yeah, I didn't hear it either, right? It's not there. It's as if the person who wrote the letter to the school board never watched this video.
Public school funding and making it independent from property taxes would be a great start so that poor and wealthy districts can receive equal access to resources. Systemic problems require systemic solutions. Luckily, we're all part of the system, which means that we all have a role to play in making it better. Peace.
All right, so let's check this out, right? The claim is that a student watched this video, got sick, went home, and then wrote this letter to the boss of the teacher, and in the letter, it was as if they never watched the video. It never talks about Caucasian people. It never talks about Caucasian people. Never. It never blames Caucasian people. It never, ever, ever blames individual. In fact, it says the opposite. It says you can't blame individual people. It says the exact opposite of what this letter wrote. It's as if the person who wrote the letter didn't even watch the video. Parents don't watch the video. Here, let's see the other video that that made kids sick. All right. I'm gonna double speed this one. Play. All right, faster, because you know what's up, right? You can read it. So, while this is going, feel your body. Feel your body. Are you getting sick? Do you want to throw up? Like, do you feel a response to the stimuli? Is what I'm asking you. Do you feel a response to the stimuli? All this video is basically a symbolic representation of what that last video was about. Instead of using language, it's using pictures and so for visual learners. So it's essentially the same thing, right? It's like it's symbolically explaining the last video the same way. Now, as a student who is learning about critical thinking, you can say what you think about the video, but you have to say why. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer, right? You think the video is wrong? Why? You think the video is right? Why? The important thing is explain your answer. And the students were unable to do it. In fact, they got sick. And instead of explaining their answer to the teacher, they wrote to the teacher's boss. And when they wrote to the teacher's boss, they were still unable to explain their position. It was as if they didn't even watch the video. It's because the parents wrote the letters, not the kids. The woman's still back there. Ah! Even the white woman's still back there. Yes, affirmative action is good. Is that the end? No credits? All right. Check your bodies. Did you get sick? Did you feel sick? If you got sick, if you felt sick, I can explain why. So these kids are claiming, I have reason to doubt that those are the kids wrote the letters, but the kids are claiming that they got sick watching those two videos. When asked why, they pulled out the exact opposite. It's as if they didn't watch the videos. If you go by their letter, it was as if they didn't watch the video. But we're gonna assume that they're not lying. Let's assume that the kids are telling the truth. They got sick watching the video. So what must the world be like if kids are getting sick while watching this video, while other kids don't get sick? I mean, yeah, they said they felt uncomfortable. That's being sick. They felt sick. There's no reason they should have been sick. There was no reason. But I'm gonna tell you a secret. I'm gonna show you not a secret. I'm gonna show you something. There are ways to condition humans. There are ways to trick the human mind into believing something that's not real. So that you can control a human better. Let me explain. Individually, you can condition a human. to here, let me show you the video of it. There's a way to psychologically condition humans. So what I believe is happening to those kids that are getting sick is not that the teacher's wrong, not that the lessons, the information's bad, and I'm not even saying the kids are bad, right? Because the kids are just getting sick. So, if the kids are getting sick and that's what they feel, we have to figure out what's making them sick. And it appears to be the thing that makes the kids sick is exposure to information on systemic racism. That's what makes the kids sick. Exposure to information on systemic racism. And it's been happening so much in South Carolina that the South Carolina legislature passed a law to protect the kids who were getting sick. But what is the mechanism that makes kids get sick when exposed to information regarding systemic racism? If we're going to believe the kids, then we have to say, all right, these kids really, really are getting sick when exposed to information regarding systemic racism. It's really happening. And we watch the video. It never discusses about white people. It never blames white people. It never points to an individual. Yet these kids were getting sick and feeling as if they were personally attacked. What would cause kids to feel personally attacked when the video was clearly about white supremacy, about systemic racism? What would cause that association? How could that happen when you punch white supremacy, but the kids go, ouch, ouch, ouch? How could that happen? How can that be? Are the kids lying? No. Is the video talking specifically about the kids? No. No, there's no association, and yet the kids feel pain whenever we shine light on white supremacy, because that's what it is, right? White supremacy is a constellation in the void. To get metaphorical, right? White supremacy is a constellation in the void. The constellation is made up of many, many parts. Like each point is a thing. Like you need oppression and racism and fear and anger and hate, and all these things come together to make the constellation of white supremacy, which then has to find a human to shine through. So white supremacy is not a thing. It's not even physical. It doesn't exist. It's just like, it's just a bunch of points shining in the void. That's it. A bunch of points in the void. So if you shine light on this constellation, you kind of dim it. Shine light on it. You shine a light on it, on the constellation, to dim it. You shine light on the constellation to dim it. But hey, good morning, JMDX. I'm talking about systemic racism. So systemic racism doesn't actually exist. It's an idea. It's a concept. It's like a god, right? It doesn't actually exist out here. You have like reflections of it. It's a concept. It's remember the two sides we have, right? The of existence. You have the dividing line, and on this side is the void, and on this side is what do they call it? The ether. The ether, no, not ether, like limbo, like madness. I forgot what I called it. Like, where all the materials crammed together and makes no sense. Absolute. And then on this side, right, so there's no order whatsoever, but there's everything. Everything's crammed. All the stuff is here, but there's no order. And then on this side, there's no stuff. There's nothing. But everything is absolutely clear. Super, super clear and pristine and perfect. Why? Because there's nothing there. It's purely conceptual. It's purely abstract. It's the void. There's nothing there. points, infinitesimally small. It's just a point. Well, but a point has absolutely no depth, no height, no width, no nothing. No nothing. It has 0 dimensions. A point has 0 dimensions, right? That's the key. On this side, you have the material world, which is just crammed full of shit everywhere. You can't see nothing because it's all literally in your face, and it's all like messed up. There's no order to it whatsoever. You find the middle. You find the middle. This is the film upon which you take some of the ideas from the void, and you take some of the material from the madness, and you order it to make something beautiful. So, white supremacy exists out here as a constellation in the void. The only way it gets over here into the material world, it needs stuff. It needs stuff to materialize. So, hey, thank you for the thing. Yeah. So it needs stuff to materialize. So the human is the vessel, or is the screen. It's the medium by which you take points of light, shine it here, and then you take material here and glob it onto the points and make something real. So white supremacy is out here. If we shine light on it, it does nothing. But there's these kids who are getting sick, who are feeling physical pain. Why would kids who are not attached, white supremacy is just an idea. It's why would kids feel physical pain when you shine light on white supremacy? And that's because they have a mental association that's been conditioned into the children. It's been conditioned into them, and it's systemic. You can't point to one person and say it's your fault. Did dude lose his job? He did. Why would you lose your job, dude? It's right there. Are you stuck? What's going on here, dude? It looks like you're stuck. There you go. Don't get stuck. Kids are conditioned. Kids are getting conditioned. It's not one person. Like, you have to understand, use your sociological lens. Back up. Look at the whole society. When you're a child, you're born basically a blank slate. You have no idea how to interact with the world around you, and you require your parents basically to nurture you. But eventually, you need more than just your parents. Like, you need to know how to interact with other people other than your parents, like the rest of the world. And so there are multiple agents of socialization which subtly explain to the child how to become an individual in the society in which they exist. If an individual, this creates the tension, the link between the individual and society. There is no society without the individual, and there is no individual without society. You need the two. Remember how I told you thesis, antithesis, synthesis. That's the deal. Everyone wants to talk about, what's more important, the individual or society. Like, you can't rest on either one, right? It's a dynamic. It's constantly in motion. It's a give and take, both sides. When do you emphasize the individual? When do you emphasize the group? Because both are important. You can't have one without the other. You need both. So, through socialization, an individual learns how to become a member of society. And sometimes they pick up bad ideas, bad behaviors, which are then replicated by the human. The human learns a bad idea, and then they use their body to do that thing again somewhere else. It's not necessarily the kid's fault, right? The kid just is like a sponge. They will pick up anything around them. So someone, this kid is born in a white supremacist society, and when the kid starts sucking up stuff, it's gonna pick up the white supremacy around him, around the kid. All right, fine. So now the kid has white supremacy inside of the kid, but you can't blame the kid, right? The kid just picked up. It's systemic. It's all around the kid. But the kid now has this white supremacy inside of them, and it's conditioned, it's trained over and over and over and over again until why? Until let's see. Bam. I thought it wasn't real. Your mind makes it real. For real, for real. This is the shit right here. Pay attention. Sure, it's not real, but your brain makes it real, and your behavior makes it real, right? All of white supremacy isn't real, but your brain makes it real. Your body makes it real. It reproduces it out into the real world. We make it real. We reproduce it. Every fucking day, we reproduce it. Let me give you an example of how your mind makes it real. I love this clip. It comes from Australia, and it's great. And I'm using it all the time.
I have an experiment that we're going to do today. Is I'm going to train your brain to believe that this hand, this arm, is your arm. You see we've got this divider here? So right now you can kind of see your arm. You see the arm there? And I'm going to cover over.
Okay, so his real arm is on the left side. On the left side. No, on the right side. His real hand is on the right side. The hand in the middle is fake. And they're doing all these optical things to trick his brain, to limit the information that's going through to his brain, in order to manipulate it, right? They want to manipulate in order to control his brain. So there's researchers doing these things in order to control this guy's brain. All right. He's doing things in order to control this guy's brain.
Part of your arm. Now I'm doing that because your eyes talk to your brain. And your eyes tell you this is what's happening. So now, can you physically see your arm? Your right.
That's why when some people when they do VR with really good VR and they do a roller coaster, they're on a chair and they do it, but in the VR they're on a roller coaster, they'll like fall off. or they'll puke or something because it feels so real, because we get so much information from our eyes. We get so much, like the bandwidth we get from our eyes is intense. So yeah, our brain's heavily reliant upon the information we receive on our eyes into recreating the world. So if your brain sees a thing that is not you, but your brain sees it, it will believe it is. That thing is not a part of him. That thing is not at all a part of him, but he will believe it is. And then not only will he believe that it is, he will act as if it were really him. His brain makes it real. He will act as if it were real. It doesn't have to be real. He'll act as if it were real. Oh, damage is coming. I will protect it. Damage is coming. I feel the anticipation of damage coming to what? A fake hand? Because your brain makes it real. Same thing with these kids, right? Remember, these kids inside of them have an association with white supremacy. It's not their fault. They're a sponge. They pick up whatever around them. But inside of them, they have white supremacy. It causes them to associate their bodies with this thing that's not even them. Systemic racism, white supremacy, it's not even them. It's not even real. It's just a concept, but they are associating their physical body with this concept so that when you shine light on the concept, they feel physical pain. How is this possible? Look what he's doing. Watch.
Arm here. No. Great. So I'm going to take these two classroom rulers. So we're going to train the sensations. You feel the rulers touching your hands because it's now becoming one with your mind. That this right hand is your right hand, right? You are believing that as I drag the ruler on your right hand there,
it totally
that it is
feels.
In fact, in your brain, your right hand.
totally feels like.
So, look what he's doing. He's got a ruler on his real hand going. And he's got a ruler on the fake hand going. And through this trick, he's associating the fake hand in the guy's brain with the real hand. Who else does this? Well, they used to. Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson would do the same thing. Tucker Carlson would show pictures of white people getting attacked and then associate that with the viewers, with them, so that they would feel the same, they would get conditioned into the same fear response as what Tucker Carlson did. Right? Tucker Carlson did the same thing on a mass scale. So watch.
Man, that's crazy.
Feel the sensations.
Yeah.
Line up with each finger.
What? Whoa, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah. So now if I just do like a little tap. Right?
Yeah.
Feel the knuckles.
Uh-huh.
Feel each digit.
Whoa. Oh, that's...
Okay, this is where...
That's crazy.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna do this one more time to train your brain.
Okay, watch. Listen.
So you feel your thumb.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And your index finger. Middle finger.
This is nuts.
Your ring finger.
Oh my goodness.
Your mind makes it real.
And your pinky finger. And now you're gonna feel it when I tap it. Feel that?
Yeah.
And that.
Whoa.
I'm gonna let you in on a little secret.
Yeah.
I have not been using the other ruler.
What?
Feel that?
Yeah.
I am not using the ruler.
Whoa. What are you?
Okay. I appreciate these Australian guys for helping us out. Look, this guy is not being touched, but he fully feels the thing. In fact, if he didn't tell him he wasn't being touched on the other hand, he wouldn't have known. Society works in the same way. There's all sorts of agents of socialization that you don't even know about. Your parents, your grandparents, your siblings, the television, your friends, the radio, school, church, clubs, who knows, like music, the music you listen to, the art you watch, movies, like everything around you tells you what's going on. Everything. And like you don't know it now as an adult because you kind of automatically have like a shell because you need to, because like, you know, it conserves energy. But when you leave your home country and go to a new country that you've never been to and is not really that closely related to your own home country, all of a sudden it'll be like turned on again and you'll be like, oh, it'd be like you'll feel everything and then you'll become exhausted because there's a lot of information coming all at once. So this always happens to little kids. That's why it's important little kids have lots of energy, because they're constantly being bombarded by information that they have to absorb and process. So they're always absorbing information through all these agents of socialization. So just as this guy here is being trained to associate his body with that fake hand, so too do children become subtly trained to associate their bodies with white supremacy. That is why that kid got sick when light was shined upon white supremacy. Watch.
I mean, it's crazy. It's not. Oh! Whoa!
You
It
felt
even
that,
like.
right?
Oh no!
Now, check
Oh!
this out. We're going to do a little test. Now, again, this is all in your mind. I'm retraining your brain to feel sensation.
Okay.
But your brain is thinking that it's feeling it.
Okay.
So even if it gets a little, what would be considered painful, I will not be harming you because, of course, I'm not going to be actually hitting.
So remember, anticipation of pain also creates alters behavior. If people anticipate pain, they're going to change their behavior. I mean, that's the whole point of deterrence, right? That's the whole point of deterrence. You create the anticipation of pain that's so powerful, people alter their behavior. That's the whole point. So in this guy's brain, he now associates this hand with this fake hand with his body. And he too, because he associates the fake hand with his fake body, he now has the anticipation of pain. Look how it alters his behavior. Look how he acts in ways that he would not behave if he were not conditioned to believe that fake hand were his. If it were just a lump of garbage, that was just a lump of garbage there, and someone came with a hammer, you're not gonna be like, he's gonna hit it. No, you wouldn't be like that at all. You would have no anticipation whatsoever because you're not connected to it. It's just a piece of garbage. But if you're trained, if you can be trained, then yes, you can absolutely trick someone's brain into not only believing that it's real, but acting as if it were real. And if you act as if it were real, it might as well be real. What's the difference between a hole and a fake hole if everyone walks around just the same? If everyone's going to walk around it, even though it's not real, it might as well be real. Everyone behaves as if it were. So that has social consequences. It's not like cost free, right? So that's why we say race isn't real, but it is real because we make it real. That's what we mean. All right, because people will change their behavior in anticipation of a negative stimuli.
Your right arm, but your brain really believes that this is in fact your right hand.
Oh,
right?
this is making me nervous.
All right, here we go. I'll start lightly. Feel that on the phone?
Whoa, yeah. Oh.
See, his real hand is twitching
Whoa.
when the fake hand is touched.
I'm totally feeling it in this hand.
His real hand is twitching when his fake hand is touched. His real body responds to fake stimuli. His real body responded to fake stimuli. Not even fake stimuli. Nah, I'm mispronouncing it. His real body responded when something was done to the thing that wasn't attached to him, but he had the association to. There's nothing there, but his real body moved just the same. It reacted just the same, even though there's nothing there.
This is so strange.
I'm trying to get into your brain the reality of the malleability of the human mind.
I want to move my hand, but it feels like I can't. What's that for?
What's that for? You can tell right there he feels like nervous, anxiety. Anxiety. Why would you feel anxious if that thing right there isn't you? Do you feel anxious when I bring a hammer near a brush? No. Why? Why would you? It's not attached to you. It's not real. But he feels as if it is, and he feels vulnerable. And so, because he feels vulnerable, he alters his behavior. Look how his behavior is altered.
Now again, I would never on purpose hurt you, right?
Okay.
And I would never take a hammer and bash your fingers to where they would hurt, right?
I hope not.
But again, your brain is going to tell you that you're going to feel this when in fact I'm not actually going to be causing any damage to your hand, right?
Okay.
And we'll start lightly again, okay?
All right. So this guy is anticipating the pain. But look at how his body is tensed up now. His body is totally tensed up because he anticipates pain. But it's not even there. How can he anticipate pain if it's not there? His brain's been conditioned to believe that it's real, so he reacts as if it were real. He makes it real.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. Very lightly. Here we go.
Oh, it's so weird. Oh.
Oof.
Oh.
Oh, the infamous thumb when your hand.
Look, his thumb's twitching. No, his thumb twitched. His real body moved when the fake body was hit. That's how powerful the connection. he can make the real body move by manipulating the fake body. That's how powerful the connection. So if you can create an association in a human's brain that's so powerful that they feel pain when you manipulate a fake body, you don't have to control the human anymore. All you need to do is control the fake thing. I feel pain. It's like a voodoo doll in reverse.
It feels like an electric shock. It's so strange,
Isn't it?
Yeah, oh, even when I touch myself.
Yeah.
Oh.
Even when I touch myself. Look how powerful is the association. He calls it himself. It's not him. That's a fake hand. It. But he says myself. It's part of him. He is fully, well, I wouldn't say fully, but within that tiny time frame, he's associating this rubber object with a part of his body as if it were him, and is reacting protectively, anxiously, as if it were.
Yeah? Watch this, watch this. One last electric, watch this. You ready for this one?
Okay.
Guess which finger I'm gonna hit.
Okay.
Guess which finger. See if you can tell me which one it is.
Middle.
Ooh. Now again, I did not actually hurt you, did you? You didn't feel...
All in his mind. All in his mind. He reacted as if he were actually hit. That is the power of conditioning. But then, remember, once you see the power of conditioning, fucking turn it up, man, to 11. The whole society. The whole society. That's the power. So now that, and I thank you guys, thank you so much for your teaching. We're teaching and making science is great. Science is great. So those kids who were getting sick in class were getting sick because their bodies have an association to white supremacy. Every time you shine light on white supremacy, those kids got sick because they've been trained, right? So the solution is not to strengthen the association by acting as if it were real. You have to break it. You have to show those kids that their bodies are not attached to white supremacy. White supremacy is already inside those kids. It's not their fault. Those kids are innocent. Those kids are innocent. It's not their fault. They're going to pick up whatever's around them. And because racism is systemic, we can't point to an individual to blame. There's no way. There's not an easy fix. You can't just point to an individual and say, take that guy out and we're done. No, can't do it. The whole point is that it's systemic. It's all around you. It's all around you. So, since you can't address directly the systemic racism, and really, that's making this kid sick, what you need to do is break the association the kid has with white supremacy, because it's not real. And as a group, we have all come to the decision collectively that white supremacy is bad. It's not desirable. We don't want this around. We can all agree white supremacy is bad. Every one of us Americans can agree that white supremacy is bad, and we don't want it reproduced. However, it exists. White supremacy is, it's here. White supremacy is here, and it's getting into our kids. That's how it's getting reproduced. Our kids, and we know it's in our kids because Ms. Mary Woods has discovered those two videos which elicit feelings of discomfort in children who have white supremacy inside them. So it's not a problem. It's not the fault of the kids, but what we've done is we found a way to identify which kids have white supremacy inside them. And the key now is to get rid of that white supremacy inside of them. We have to get rid of that white supremacy. Now that we can identify which kids have the white supremacy inside them, we can take steps to get rid of it, to fix it. And the answer is not by stopping those videos. That's the exact opposite. You have to show those videos all all around so we can figure out which kids have white supremacy. Like, it's easy, right? It's easy. Nowhere in those videos did it ever blame white people. Nowhere did it ever say Kevin is personally responsible for racism. Kevin is inherently a racist because he's white. Nowhere does it say that. Nowhere. That's entirely a product of the false association, the manufactured association between the kid's body and white supremacy. Entirely a false association. Like, to the point that the kid heard things that weren't in the video. You see how powerful it is? You see how powerful it is? So the answer is not to stop showing those videos. The answer is to show those videos to every single high school child. Every single high school child should see those videos. And if those kids get sick, then you know those kids have white supremacy, and we can take steps to fix it. It's not the kid's fault. We just need to take care of the white supremacy. It's like lice, right? You don't blame kids for having lice. You just take care of it. Why? Because lice will spread to other kids. Same thing with racism. If you don't take care of the racism in kids, it will spread to other kids. It's not the kid's fault. You just take care of it. Same thing with lice. It's not the kid's fault they have lice. You just take care of it. And you do a special program to help kids take care of the problem they have. I mean, that's what we're supposed to do as a society. We're supposed to help kids grow up to be awesome adults so that we have an awesome society. Like, that's the whole fucking point. Come with me. All right. What else do we got? All right. But that's the problem, right? What happens if you do not take care of the white supremacy in children? They grow up to be adults with white supremacy. And adults with white supremacy are way harder to deal with. They're way harder to deal with. They're way harder. Because that false association to white supremacy becomes phantom pain. What is phantom pain? Phantom pain is a real pain. It's a real condition that people have. It happens when they have a traumatic amputation. It doesn't even have to be traumatic. It's an amputation of their limb. They lose a limb somehow. So now they don't have an arm. Like, they lose it at the shoulder. They don't have an arm. And yet their brain feels as if their arm is still there. And there's excruciating pain, cramps, their nails are digging into the palms of their hand, burning, I don't know, right? But you can't do anything about it because it's not there. There's no arm. There's nothing there. How can you treat something that's not there? It's a phantom pain. So in these people's minds is an unceasing pain that cannot be treated because it doesn't exist. But the pain is real. It's so real that they have to do real activities to overcome the pain. What do? Maybe they take pills. Maybe they meditate to gain the willpower to overcome the pain. Either way, they have to do something in the material world. They have to alter their behavior to adjust for the pain. That requires energy. So your total store of energy to do something is now permanently lessened because you always have to deal with this chronic phantom pain that's not even there. Not only is it a phantom pain, but some people will react to protect their limb that's not even there. They will act to protect the thing that's not there. So it creates real world actions, real world implications to to phantom things. There are real world changes, behaviors are made because of something that's not actually there. Same thing with untreated racism. untreated racism will lead to phantom pain. So that, because we live in a multiracial democracy, we live in an open, free, fair society where everyone is free to be and express who they are. Everyone, and we all respect the freedom of one another, right? Because that's the other side of it. Not only do I have freedom but my freedom is only here because my neighbors also have their freedom. So if my neighbors' freedoms are diminished, my freedoms are diminished. If I extend my freedom so far that my neighbor loses their freedom, then I've gone too far. The whole thing becomes unstable, you see? So it's in my best interest to make sure that everyone has maximum freedom that doesn't impinge upon anyone else's freedom. Maximum freedom without impinging upon others' freedoms. But when you have this association to white supremacy that's not actually there, but you've been conditioned into it, you're going to have this phantom pain every time you exist in American society. Just existing here is going to cause you pain. Just existing here. Like, if you ever read Dragonlance, the Dragonlance series, there is a guy named, a wizard, a dark elf named Dalamar. This dark elf named Dalamar, very, very, very powerful wizard of the black robes. He's evil. His alignment, his direction is evil. He's evil. He's a bad guy, right? However, he made the choice to go to visit someone. This other, and I forget her name now, but there was a priestess, a high priestess of the light, of the of the good side, right? Of goodness. High priestess of goodness. And there was this evil dark black wizard. No, he wasn't black, but of the dark robes. Wizard. Dark wizard named Dalamar. And I forget why, but for some reason, Dalamar felt the need to go to visit this priestess out of respect. And I don't remember why. So, sure, right? Dalamar walks over there and goes onto this holy grounds, these sacred grounds, and hangs out and makes a visitation to the high priestess to deliver a message or do something. I forget why. And then he walks back home. Right? But the thing is, it's not free for him, the dark wizard, to go walk on those holy grounds, because the whole thing is like exactly opposite of his beliefs, right? His opposite, and it's not only is it opposite, it's like sacred opposite. It's like sacred. So for him to even be there, every single step is agony. Everything about being there is pain. Everything is pain. Just to be there. Because the place is designed against him. So yeah, him just being there hurts. It sucks for him. And yet he did it anyways out of respect. And I forget why. I wish I could remember. To make this visit to the high priestess, and then he fucking left because it sucked. It sucked to be there for him. All right. Same thing with a person who's infected with racism. They have this fake association. Well, it's not fake. It's a real association with white supremacy. And yet they exist in a country that's multiracial, multi-ethnic, multi-denominational. Like you can, it's freedom. But white supremacy is antithetical to freedom. It can't have freedom, right? White supremacy requires specific forms. It requires the stratification of humans. And in a free society, we don't stratify humans based on race. We don't do that. So it hurts for white supremacists, for people afflicted with white supremacy, to exist within our society. It hurts for them, literally, because they have this they have this mental association with a thing that's not really there, that they're not really attached to. And it causes them real pain. And it changes their I have no coffee. It changes their behavior. Okay, dude, what was the next thing I had? It changes their behavior. I had another video, but I guess not. So, yeah, it changes, and then they do bad things like try to overthrow democracy. Oh, you're safe now. Good. Okay. Yeah, they try to overthrow democracy. So if we want to, so that pain that they feel to be within the white supremacists feel pain being in a society full of the white supremacists feel pain being in a society full of freedom. That's like the opposite of their alignment. So they act in ways to destroy it, right? To stop the pain. It's painful. So they want to like recreate the world so it's not painful for them. But that means making the world good for white supremacy, and that's not going to happen, right? That's not going to happen. But you understand how now we have a mechanism by which we can see how white supremacy is reproduced in children. It's because children are socialized into white supremacy, and it goes unchecked. The children have it. It's put into children. We have a way of identifying which children have the white supremacy inside of them. Now we can take steps to cure them of the white supremacy, just like we cure them of lice. It's not the kid's fault they get lice. All we got to do is fix it. It's not the kid's fault they get white supremacy inside them. All we got to do is fix it. So now we can identify, well, which people are acting as barriers to the elimination of white supremacy. Because if we can now identify, if we can find now that Ms. Mary Wood, she's a great teacher. She's great. Look what she did, dude. She discovered a way to identify which kids have white supremacy inside of them. She's great. She's a fantastic teacher. I kind of want to take her class now. But she found a way to identify which kids have white supremacy inside of them. Now we have to find out, well, who's stopping us from implementing this program by which we discover which kids have white supremacy? Because we need to show these videos to everyone, to all the kids. That way we can figure out which kids have it inside them and then fix it. Well, there's a whole state that passed an entire law stopping us from discovering which kids have white supremacy. Why would they do that? South Carolina passed a law that says no. You can't figure out which of our kids have white supremacy. Why not? You're going to wreck your kids. They're going to grow up with agony all the time. Why would you do that to your kids? That's fucked up, South Carolina. That's fucked up. All right. So, I was talking on Facebook to this guy who claimed to be from Australia. And this guy who claimed to be from Australia was unfamiliar with what had happened in Australia. That was significantly different from what happens here in the United States. This guy, so in the state legislature, let me find this. In our state legislature, the Oregon state legislature, the Oregon Republicans walked out of the legislature. They don't have power in Oregon, right? They don't have a majority in Oregon. But Oregon is one of 4 states that require a 2/3 number of legislators to be present in order for there to be a quorum. Every other state has there to be a simple majority for a quorum. Because Oregon has this antiquated law or rule that requires 2/3 majority for a quorum, that gives Republicans a veto the minority veto power. So they use it, right? They're the minority, but they use their minority veto power by walking out. They walk out and they deny the majority a quorum, so they can't pass any laws. So with this veto power, Oregon Republicans have walked out 5 times since, like at least 5 times since 2019. In order to do their veto power that they don't legally have. They don't actually have this veto power. It's not in the state constitution. They found a loophole. The Oregon Republicans found a loophole to give themselves a veto power over the majority. Which is bullshit. It's bullshit. So, as a result, the legislature, the Oregon legislature is hobbled. It can't pass anything because the Oregon Republicans just have this they made up a veto power for themselves, fuckers. All right, so they're trying to address the problem we have in the United States. In the United States, we have an epidemic of mass shootings whereby people go in with guns, firearms, any kind of firearm. It can be a pistol, it can be an assault rifle, it can be a shotgun, some kind of firearm. But there's an epidemic of people going with firearms and murdering a large number of people. Strangers, generally strangers. People they have no relation to whatsoever. They just go and murder. It happens so often that like there are massive calls for our government to do something about it. Half the government tries to do something about it, and the other half fucking invents their own veto power. So anyways, the Democrats are trying to address the epidemic of mass shootings in our country. And one of the ways they're trying to, but they get no help from Republicans. They get zero help from Republicans. For Republicans, mass shootings are a feature, not a bug. So Democrats are trying to do a school safety bill that features panic alarms. So kids hopefully could hit, or somebody can hit a button if there's a mass shooting in order to get the police or somebody there to stop the mass shooting. But we already know the police are kind of useless when it comes to mass shootings. Look what happened in Uvalde. Turns out, how effective are police depends on the color of your kids. So, anyways, since Republicans won't help whatsoever, Democrats are going to try to make kids or make schools safer by installing panic buttons. But here comes this fucking Australian guy, right? Here comes this Australian guy. Here he comes, Australia man, James Curry, Australia man. What does he say? He's saying, I'm betting every kid with a cell phone will be dialing 911 before the silent alarm is ever pressed. He's probably right. This bill doesn't really address the root problem. He is absolutely correct. What is the root problem? Well, the root problem is white supremacy. But before that, the root problem is guns. You can't do gun violence if there's no guns, right? Why can't we address the guns? The white supremacy. That's the root problem. Okay. So, but the symptom is gun violence, right? So he's implying that this is an ineffective solution, that it's not going to help. He's correct. The next statement he makes. Police presence didn't help the Uvalde kids, though, did it? He's correct. It depends on the color of your kids. Uvalde proves it. If your kids are white, maybe the cops will come and save them. But if your kids aren't white, the cops won't do shit. Look, even if your kids are white, some of them are going to get popped. Some of them are going to die because the police can't get there fast enough. Even if the police get there fast enough, it's not going to matter. Even if you arm the teachers, it's not going to matter. A teacher is not going to fucking shoot a student. It's not going to happen. That's like teachers are professionally trained to nurture and love children. The last thing they're going to do is shoot them. Ah. So, and guards, SROs, dumb idea. Don't do anything. SROs have been around for all the other the school shootings. Didn't help a thing. Some of the kids are gonna get killed nonetheless. Even armed guards don't stop mass shootings. Remember the fucking Nazi down in Texas who killed like 9 people in a bank? In a bank, dude, with there's armed guards there on purpose because there's vast sums of money there. If they can't stop a mass shooting, what do you think an SRO is going to do? What do you think Ms. Woods is going to do? You want to give Ms. Woods a gun? You want to give Ms. Woods a gun? You got kids writing in to tell Ms. Woods that she doesn't know what she's teaching. And you want to give her and now you want to give Ms. Woods a gun? Oh, okay. I'm gonna make some coffee. Okay, so the next thing says, just don't allow teachers to carry or hire armed guards though, because that's scary. Do you see how absolutely broken is this thinking? Do you see how absolutely broken? I just addressed it. I already addressed it. Cops don't stop mass shootings. Armed guards don't stop mass shootings. SROs don't stop mass shootings. People are already saying teachers aren't competent. Why would you give them guns? But that's what he's suggesting, because he doesn't really mean it. He's a Nazi. I don't know if he's a Nazi, right? He might just be thoroughly demoralized. Do you know demoralization? Ah, that's the video I forgot to show you. Remember the conditioning that people do? Remember how that socialization? Remember how I told you that's a real thing? And you can see that it's real. You can see that it's real. What would happen if a country learned about this and weaponized it? What would happen? What would happen? Think of an evil empire that had no regard for human rights. They just wanted to control and manipulate humans. Think about what kind of empire would steal other nations' children, bring them into their own country, and then create a fake association to an institution like a government. Who would do that? The USSR, the Soviets, the Russians, the fucking Russians are doing it now. The Russians would do that kind of shit. The Russians learned the same thing I taught you, the same thing, right? How you can create this false association. The Russians knew about that and made a weapon out of it. They made a weapon out of it and they turned it on the West. Because you know you can condition people through their mind, with their mind, to make it real. You know it's real. You know it. You already know it. So since you already know that happens, they can do it. The Russians know it, and they made it on a mass scale, and they weaponized it, and they turned it on the West. And it has affected a whole bunch of people. I was in an argument with some British guy who was thoroughly demoralized, completely demoralized. Can't talk to him. His brain's gone. This guy right here, James Curry, I bet he's demoralized. Maybe he's not a Nazi, but I bet he's demoralized. And I can tell because look at his thinking. It's already broken. It's already broken. He's like spouting out gibberish here. But here, let's look, right? Because you don't know. What am I talking about? This Soviets and bullshit, rah, rah, rah. What do you even mean Soviet stuff? What?
Well, you spoke several times before about ideological subversion. That is a phrase that I'm afraid some
again and again and again. It's real, dudes. It's real.
Only about 15% of time, money, and manpower is spent on espionage as such. The other 85% is a slow process, which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB.
The Americans, we call it reflexive control. Reflexive control. We're controlling your reflexes. We're controlling your reflexes. Remember that guy? He had his hand here, and they were hitting the fake hand, and by hitting the fake hand, they made his real hand move. They control his reflexes.
Or psychological.
Or yeah, and the Russians were doing the same thing.
Warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country.
So imagine that guy. Remember that guy who had his hand, you know, the fake hand here, or the real hand here, the divide? He wants to create a divide around the whole society, so that society cannot see its real hand, and wants to create a fake world, and then place a dummy hand here. And then once they've done that, all the Soviets have to do is manipulate the dummy hand, and they can get the real hand to do shit.
You cannot change their mind, even if you expose them to authentic information, even if you prove that white is white and black is black. You still cannot change the basic perception and the logic of behavior.
So even though that guy knew that his real hand was here, and he knew that it was not going to actually get hurt, he knew fully, he had total control of his hand, right? He totally knew that this was not real. He knew it was not real, despite the abundance of information. He could not change his brain's mind that this was not real. He couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. So, like, yeah, here, let's keep on. So he acted and behaved as if this was real, knowing full well that it was not real. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. He had been conditioned. So this guy, the Soviets, are talking about conditioning Americans to react to stimuli. All you have to do is show a rainbow, and people go blah, they go crazy. That's all you have to do. People get conditioned to react to stimuli. All you got to do is poke something that's not them, and they'll blah. So watch.
In other words, these people, the process of demoralization is complete and irreversible.
Let's hope not.
To get rid society of these people, you need another 20 or 15 years to educate a new generation of patriotically minded.
We have technology nowadays.
Common sense.
Technology, information. We've advanced. Knowledge.
Favor and in the interests of the United States society. The next stage is destabilization. This time, subverter does not care about your ideas and the patterns of your consumption. Whether you eat junk food and get fat and flabby, doesn't matter anymore. This time, and it takes only from 2 to 5 years to destabilize a nation.
So what kind of things happens to a nation that gets destabilized? They try to overthrow the government. That's what happens. They try to overthrow the government. Oh, not that one. They try to overthrow the government. I mean, how much more destabilizing can you get than trying to overthrow the government? All these guys gave up on the idea of democracy and attacked the United States, just like the Soviets wanted them to do, because in their brains, the association of their bodies to white supremacy is so strong, you cannot break it. If you shine a light on white supremacy, they feel pain and will react accordingly. That's how strong this is on people. That's how strong. They will attack their own government. This is exactly what happened here. Exactly what happened.
What matters is essentials: economy, foreign relations, defense systems.
Notice how Donald Trump wrecked our economy. They cut taxes for the very, 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 very rich so that the debt ceiling would come real soon. Real soon. He surrendered to the Taliban, and then he dumped our our military in Afghanistan, had no plans of bringing them back, so that they would be stuck in Afghanistan on a lie. The government would have lied to the people, and so they would have no honor. They would have, I mean, normally you can make deals with the people around you, right? Because you have honor. Everyone's got honor, right? You can make deals. You can like try to get along and recognize like the divinity in one another, you know, and honor one another, right? But if your government has said, well, oh yeah, we're leaving, and then don't make you leave, your military, it's not like you can just up and leave anyways, right? You follow the commands of the government, of the commander in chief. So you're gonna fucking stay there, but your position is shitty now because you're not supposed to be there. Everyone around you knows you're not supposed to be there. But why are you still here? Why are you still here if you're not supposed to be here anymore? You know, look what happened to the Kurds. Look what happened to the Kurds when you don't have honor. So Donald Trump was going to absolutely destroy our military by leaving them stuck in Afghanistan with no honor while he fucked around over in the United States. He had no plan of returning. Remember, he had no plan of them coming back, and he had no plan of leaving office. Joe Biden had to push back the retreat because when he finally got around to looking at it, he's like, holy shit, nothing's been done. Because it was never intended to happen. So, foreign relations. Look at how much Donald Trump cozied up to our dictators, or to dictators, and fucked our allies. All the time, he messed up our foreign relations. Donald Trump screwed us in every single way. Oh my God! So you can see how this was like how mental conditioning, socialization, the Soviet program was used on a whole bunch of people to get them to attack their own government.
The next stage, of course, is crisis. It may take only up to 6 weeks to bring a country to the verge of crisis. You can see it in Central America now. And after crisis, with a violent change of power, structure, and economy, you have so-called the period of normalization. It may last indefinitely.
Yeah, see, normalization, that's part of socialization. How do you know what's normal? How do you know what's normal? As a baby, you have no idea, right? You have no idea what's normal. That's why they're free to run around with their clothes off and like just go everywhere. Because they don't know what's normal. They're absolutely innocent. They have no idea. No, this is not a movie, dude. What's up, the epic dude? I'm explaining what's going on in the United States. I'm explaining like what happened in the United States. So as a baby, you have no idea, right? You have to be socialized into the world to understand what's going on. That's how you know what normal is. So if like there's like a violent coup and the government's overthrown and then I don't have my world open to the. I don't have it open to the public yet. I don't have this world online yet. But you can like listen in. That's cool, and like chat with me. Right? But see, and you know, right? You know that's not appropriate. You know that it's not appropriate to run around in public with no clothes. It's a little bit weird. Right? Because you've been socialized. You've been taught by society. All of us have been taught by society that running around in public with no clothes on is not quite normal. Kids don't know that, right? They're babies. When you're born, you have no idea. Everything is normal to you. Well, everything's crazy, and crazy is normal. That's why kids are kids. How does the baby know what normal is? We teach babies literally everything. We socialize them. We socialize babies we teach them about what it is to be a human. For real, right? If you take a baby and you leave them out in like the jungle and have them be raised by wolves, and somehow, I don't know how, but perhaps the baby survives, right? And then like 20 years later, 10 years later, you come back and you pick up that kid. The kid's like 15 years old, right? And you're like, all right, kid, we found you. You've been living out in the jungle for like ever, but now time to come back into society. Time to live in a city. Time to have your own apartment. That kid's going to be like, because because they're not socialized to hang out with humans. The whole thing I was saying is that there is no individual without society, and there is no society without the individual. The two are linked. They look like they're separate things, but they're intertwined inextricably. You cannot separate them. On a higher level, they're intertwined. You have to look at things in through synthesis. All right. So I went from there to say, since kids don't know what's up, right? They're just going to suck up whatever's around them. So one of the things that kids have been sucking up is white supremacy. Believe it or not, kids have been sucking up white supremacy. Where's it coming from? Well, historically, the United States has been a white supremacist society. We have a lot of history of white supremacy, and not a lot of it's been dealt with. So naturally, kids, innocent kids who have no idea of anything in the world whatsoever, they're like sponges, right? They're just whatever's around, they're gonna suck up. So now we got these kids running around with white supremacy inside of them. How do I know? How do I know this? Because when a teacher played a video in South Carolina, there was these two videos that the teacher played for these kids in South Carolina. And some of the kids got sick. Some of the kids got sick watching the video. And I were figuring out, well, why did the kids get sick? None of the other kids got sick watching this video. There was nothing wrong with the teacher. We watched the videos, and I played the videos, and there was nothing in the videos that would have made them get sick. So we're trying to figure out, why do these kids get sick? If there's nothing in the video, nothing in the teacher, nothing in the classroom, all the other kids are fine, why are these kids getting sick? And they're not lying, right? They feel what they feel, right? They're gonna tell you what they feel. They're just sponges. Oh, this feels like that. Oh, that feels like that. Oh, this is free, thank you. Like, they're just gonna do it, right? They're kids. So some of these kids get sick when they watch this video. So we got to figure out what's the thing that makes them sick. And what I figured out is the thing that made them sick was white supremacy. Because for these kids, they created an association. Somehow, somewhere, these kids picked up the association of their bodies with the idea of white supremacy. So that anytime people shine light on white supremacy, these kids would get sick. And it's real, dude, it's real. There's newspaper stories about how kids are getting sick from watching videos or from listening to lessons. They're all getting sick. And I guarantee it, if you go through and check every one of those kids, they're all going to have white supremacy ideas. Every single one of them. So the problem is not the kids, right? It's not their fault that they have white supremacy ideas. It's not their fault. They just pick up whatever's around them. It's like lice, right? It's not the kids' fault they have lice. The lice, they just pick it up from wherever. Who cares? That's not that's not the thing. The thing is to treat the lice. So the same thing. Who cares why or how these kids got white supremacy inside of them? All we got to do is take care of it so that they do not get sick when you shine light on white supremacy. Do you want to know the videos that I watched that made the kids sick? Is this a movie? I ask myself that question all the time. All right, is this a movie? Oh yeah, the videos. All right, here's the videos. Let's see. The videos are where is it? There's one of them. Where's the other one? Okay, it's called. Oh shit. Where am I at? Okay, it's called. Damn it. Systemic racism explained on YouTube. That's one of them. Oh, shit. Damn it. Shit. Hold on. Wait. I'll move me. Okay. That's one of them. Okay. Oh, wait, here. You didn't see, huh? Okay, there we go. Systemic racism explained. It's on YouTube. Okay, there's that one, right? And then the other video is okay, there it is. So, those two videos, when kids watched those two videos, they got sick. They were watching the video. It made them sick. It made them sick. So be careful. Be careful when you watch those videos. Like you might want a bucket, right? Keep a bucket. Because you might get sick and have to throw up, you know? It makes kids sick. It makes kids sick. But that's because the power of association. The other video, you have to watch. Yeah. Now, wait a minute. Why? How is this possible? And then I showed that video of that Yuri Bezmenov guy, right? That guy was explaining how you can condition an entire society. You can condition an entire society to do the same thing that happened to those kids. The entire society. That's what happened. And I know it worked because on January 6, 2021, they all tried to overthrow the government. I mean, it's real. It's real. It's real. So the next part is though, wait a minute. How do you know this is real? How do you know this? How do you know that, like, hop in bed. Like, how do I even know this is real? Like, wouldn't people like pick up on it? People aren't stupid. You know, they're not gonna like do something crazy just because you tell them so. I counter, yes they will. Yes, they will. If you have been conditioned enough, groomed enough into a certain way, you will not even see it. You will not even see it. Watch this one. Watch this one. This is Donald Trump. Donald Trump is going to tell people to their faces that they're stupid and they're bigoted. He's going to tell them to their faces, and they're going to clap for him. Watch.
Critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content on our children.
So wait, look at that. Look at that. They're all getting up and clapping. They're all getting up and clapping because he said transgender. That's wild, dude. Look how they're moving because he said transgender. Do you hear? They're moving because he said transgender. Transgender is the conditioning, right? The word transgender, it's the same thing as moving the ruler on the guy's hand. That's the conditioning word. Watch. And you see, they all react real strongly. Watch.
It's amazing how strongly people feel about that. You see, I'm talking about cutting taxes. People go like that. Talk about transgender. Everyone goes crazy. Who?
Right. It used to be that the traditional Republican platform was low taxes, cut taxes, low taxes. Right? That was traditional. That was always the thing for Republicans, because Republicans are, whatever. Donald Trump notes that when he says taxes, they're like, sure. But when he says transgender, they go fucking crazy. He says that. Go back. Say it again. Say it again, dude. Make that observation again. Make that observation again.
It's amazing how strongly people feel about that. You see, I'm talking about cutting taxes. People go like that. Talk about transgender. Everyone goes crazy. Who would have thought 5 years ago you didn't know what the hell it was? But one day...
Right? 5 years ago, you guys didn't even know what it was, and now you're fucking crazy about it. What is that? What is that? That's a rubber hand. That's a rubber hand, dude. It's a rubber hand. Transgender is the rubber hand that they hit with the hammer to make the real hand move. All Donald Trump had to do was say transgender, and those people got up and started clapping. And they'll do a lot more too if you just say transgender, because they've been conditioned to associate transgender with like hate or something, with like a emotion inside of them that makes them roar. Like it's real. It's real. The Soviets did it on a mass scale, and it's happening to our children. It's happening to our children. And I've just shown you how it's happening. No, I'm not going to make the server public, dude. Especially not during my show. I can't manage all that stuff at once. Let's see. What else do I got going here on? Oh, yeah. So I was talking about this guy who's, remember I was telling you how the Soviets, here go back to Yuri real quick. Roadstone, Lapis Lazuli. Yuri, where are you? Remember this guy. Don't talk, Yuri.
Well, you spoke several times.
Don't talk, but you remember this guy, right? So I'm going to keep him up for a moment, right? Because he's important for a point I'm going to make. Man, I don't like how it collapses all the things in one. Okay, so go back to this James Curie guy. All right. So James Curie is over here making. We're trying to solve. The Democrats are trying to solve the mass shooting problem in schools, and it's pretty like I don't know, right? And James Curie comes in and says some like incoherent stuff. None of this makes sense. None of this makes sense when you put it together. But it sounds like a right-wing Republican. That's what a right-wing Republican would say. All right. Then I show him that not only is it scary to arm teachers, but it's kind of stupid and counterproductive. People don't even trust teachers to teach their own kids with books. Why do you think they would trust teachers with guns? Clearly, the answer is gun control, right? And I show here in this chart, I should probably pull out that chart so you can see better, how the United States has way more guns than everyone else. Then James Curie, Australian, says to me, what does he say to me? Yeah, and how's that been working out so far? Armed guards protect banks, airports, sports arena, basically everything else except schools. Brilliant logic. You see how he's like dumb? How he's dumb? Yeah, they protect banks where there's a mass shooting. They protect, like, he's dumb. He's dumb. Guards don't protect you, dude. They're not there to protect you. This guy is totally demoralized. He's what happened. He's what Yuri is talking about. He is the demoralized person here. Because how is that working out for us? How is that working out for us? Well, let's look in Australia, right? Let's look in Australia. Because I said gun control, and he said, how's that working out for you? Yeah, let's look at it. Let's look. I'm going to move me again because I'm in the way. Let's look again. Australia. Port Arthur. In a mere 90 seconds inside a tourist cafe at Port Arthur, Tasmania in 1996, one young man killed 20 holidaymakers with the first 29 shots from a semi-automatic rifle. His final tally was 35 dead and 18 injured. To a nation which had lost 105 lives to gun massacres in the preceding decade, this was the last straw. With a mandate from the polls showing 90 to 95% public support, newly elected Prime Minister John Howard, one of the country's most conservative leaders in decades, took only 12 days to broker nationwide bipartisan gun law reform across all 8 states and territories. Semiotic, here, get rid of that other guy. I don't need you anymore, Yuri. Semi-automatic long guns were prohibited, while all gun owners were required to prove a genuine reason to possess a firearm. For example, rural occupation or membership in a club that competes in Olympic shooting disciplines. Self-defense remains an unacceptable reason, and owners were obliged to register every gun with police. In the 26 years following Port Arthur, Australia mounted scores of federal and state-led gun amnesties and buybacks. Well over 1 million guns were handed in for destruction. So that's how it went down in Australia. How's that going for you, says the Australian. Why don't you tell me, Australian? You guys ended your violence by banning guns. Why are you asking Americans? Because he's not promoting banning guns. He's saying put guards in the schools. Like, what kind of you only say that if you want to protect guns. What a dumbass. So, like, is he really from Australia? Like, I think he's demoralized. He's like he is the mark for the Soviets. His whole like brain is scrambled, so that he's attacking his own country, his own people, rather than like face the truth. In fact, the truth is his enemy. He can't handle the truth. So how's that working for you? What else do I got? Yeah, dude, Oregon GOP have walked out 5 times since 2019. Like, they basically gave themselves a veto that's not there. Which is bullshit. That's bullshit. Fucking calling bullshit on you, Republicans. Breaking. Log shows that 10 members of Congress attended Trump's meeting to put pressure on Mike Pence to decertify the election results of 2020. The list. Brian Babin, Andy Biggs, Matt Gaetz, Louis Gohmert, Paul Gosar, Andy Harris, Jody Heiss, Jim Jordan, Scott Perry, Marjorie Taylor Greene. All those people who attended the meeting to overthrow the government are still trying to overthrow the government. Nothing's been done yet. Nothing's been done yet. I'm gonna make more coffee because my mouth is super dry. So, yeah, dude, this is like, I don't want to open my server to strangers because strangers would come in and grief it. And maybe they wouldn't grief it. I don't know, right? That's rolling the dice. I don't know who you are. I've never met you before in my life. I've never seen you. I have no idea. And like, it took me like years, or not years, but it took me a lot of time and effort to get that world together. And then I would have to find some way to put it on the internet. So it was just a lot of work that I don't want to have to deal with, because my primary, I mean, like later on, maybe I'll play, like, and that'd be fun. But right now, this is my show. This is me doing dirty laundry for the United States. This is me exposing all the bad things that are going on so that we can address them and heal and move past them. Because that's ultimately what we want to do. And we can't move past it unless we can see it. Can't fix it if you can't see it. And I think that's a major. I think it's a major discovery Ms. Mary Wood has made in identifying those two videos, which identifies which children suffer from white supremacy. It's really important that every high school child in America watches those two videos so they can determine if they are afflicted with white supremacy. How do you know if they're afflicted with white supremacy? They will get sick if they are afflicted with white supremacy. How do you know? It's already happened. It's already happened to kids. Kids get sick if they have white supremacy inside of them. So we know what it is. Like going forward, what do you mean going forward? We can go backwards, dude. Let's go back and find the kids who got sick and identify them, right? Then we can do tests on them to see if we can make them better. Do you know how I know this is real? Did I keep that here? I need to take a picture of it real quick. It's here. No, it's not here. But it's another here. Yeah, I'm gonna go like this. I don't remember where I did it at. I know it's real. It's real. It's real. I can prove it's real. It's real. It's real. There are things that are here you can't see, but they're real. There are things that are here, but you can't really feel. Doesn't mean they're not real. All right, I can't figure out where I did it at. I'm looking for a picture of Clockwork Orange. There it is. Snip. You know what it is. Do you know what it is? Why are kids getting sick? Watch this movie. That's why kids are getting sick. Somehow in our society, we have implanted into children an association between their bodies and white supremacy. Just like the way Alex is made to have an association with violence and getting sick. It's the same thing. Every time Alex sees, he's conditioned to associate violence with getting sick. These children have been conditioned to associate shining light on white supremacy with getting sick. It's the same thing. We have to fix the conditioning. The kids are not to blame. It's the conditioning that we have to fix. Oh yeah, these guys are traitors. Traitors! They're traitors! They're traitors! Da-da-da-da-da. Check it out. I'm a little bit paranoid, right? I'm a little bit paranoid. And here's why. So a while ago, I posted on June 28th, right? And now it's on June 28th. It's locked. They hid this post. This group Al24 from it looks like an Arab group, right, or something, made a claim on the video I uploaded, and there's a big lock on it, so no one else can see it. What video is being censored because of this claim by an Arab nation? Because it's an Arab nation. There's no free press in Arab nations, right? There's no free press. So if it's coming from the press of Arab nation, it's because it's coming from the government. Oh, wait, did I do this? It's going, yeah. It's coming from the government. So the government, some foreign government, put a block on the video I uploaded so no one else could see it, and they said that they own this video. But that's bullshit. That's bullshit. You know why I know? Because I was fucking there when I saw it. It's public testimony from the January 6th House congressional hearing conducted and produced by House Democrats on June 23rd, 2022. Why is that important? I mean, like, okay, so it's public ownership, right? You know, no harm, no blood, no foul, right? Wrong. Because, and I give a link, right, to the C-SPAN video of that public testimony. Why is it wrong when I say no blood, no foul? Because of this part right here. I understand that by submitting this dispute, because I disputed it, I give the rights owner, permission to view my video. But they're not the right owner. They're not the owners of it. They are not the owners of the video. It's public domain. It's public domain. But the important thing is that, and public information that may allow them to identify my account. That is what they're after. That is what they're after. If they can't stop me from showing the video, what is the video? It's public testimony of that shows that Donald Trump is a traitor, and that he's probably associated with the Saudis through his golf tournament, the LIV. Yeah, dude, the Saudis launder their blood money through the LIV Pro Golf Tournament. They're evil, dude. The Saudi government is evil. The Saudi government's evil. Fuck the Saudi government. Fuck the Saudi government. So they're after me, guys. They're after me. They're after my information. They're after my. I guess they're after my account. I guess because you know. But yeah, for sure. That's how Facebook leaks the information out to terrorist governments. All the government has to do is create like a shell company and submit a dispute about a video that they don't even own. But they can claim ownership, and just by claiming ownership, they either suppress the video or they get information about the person who posted it. What do they do with that information? Ask Jamal Khashoggi. All right, we got Biden taxes. Biden paid taxes. During a union rally in Philadelphia, President Biden says billionaires pay only 8% in taxes. That's bullshit, right? It's true. I mean, it's true. It's true that they only pay 8% in taxes. But the fact that they pay so little in taxes is bullshit. That sucks. I mean, the whole point is that billionaires should pay way more in taxes because they can afford it. Audience member shouts, "What do you pay?" Biden, "I pay a hell of a lot more than that, man." Well, specifically, Biden, on a total income of $579,514, Biden paid a tax of $137,658, an effective rate of 23.75%. That's a lot more than I pay. I would say a lot more, but it's more than I pay. Biden pays more in taxes than I do. And the billionaire pays less than I pay. What the fuck? How can that even be? I'm going to get coffee. Yeah, is this a movie? Ah! That's hilarious. That's so funny. Man, the server is not going to be public. It's not happening. It's not happening. At least not anytime soon. Like, I got shit to take care of. Okay, Biden's done. Let's move on. Burisma conspiracy. Oh, check this out. This is okay. Fact checking. The fact checker. Fact checker. Okay. Conclusion. Listen up, folks. This will be a long tweet, so click the show more button at the bottom. This is by Monitor Fake. Okay. The FBI's FD 1023 form was the result of an FBI informant merely relating what he was told by former Burisma owner Mykola Zolchevsky. You remember Mykola Zolchevsky? Oh shit. Let me pull that up before I even do that. Let's review. Man, see, I do such good things sometimes. Good job, past me. All right. Map, will that work? No, go like Biden Burisma. And go like open location. Oh, no. Keep searching. That was the wrong one. It's the wrong one. Okay. Fixed timeline. Oh, no. You can't see that. You can't see that. You know Zolchevsky. Let's get the players together here, right? Let's get the players together. In 2012, okay, Mykola Zolchevsky owns Burisma, right? This guy is a billionaire. I don't know about billionaire. He's an oligarch. He's a corrupt oligarch. He owns Burisma, the Burisma company, right? And he became under investigation for money laundering in 2012, right? He was under investigation, Zolchevsky, for money laundering, tax evasion, and corruption from 2010 to 2012. This guy under investigation. And then, let's see. What happened next? Euromaiden happens. Euromaiden. So for 3 months, understand the person who's the president of Ukraine is Yanukovych. Yanukovych is a bad guy. He's on Team Russia. So the people of Ukraine did a revolution to kick out the Russian guy and have democracy. Good job. Yes, good job. But Yanukovych and Zolchevsky are on the same team, Team Russia. So Zolchevsky was able to have a corrupt business, Burisma, because he was buddy-buddy with the president, who was buddy-buddy with Russia. But the people of Ukraine didn't like it, so they kicked him out. As this was happening, in April 2014, Zolchevsky named Hunter Biden to Burisma's board as director of Burisma. So at the very end of Yanukovych's reign, at the very end comes in Hunter Biden. At the very end, very end, right? We already know this guy is corrupt. We know this guy's corrupt. And he's getting kicked out, and he got kicked out by the people of Ukraine. And this guy, who's buddy-buddy with him, is under investigation for being a criminal. So he's like, oh shit, I'm in trouble. My fucking buddy, my president buddy, just got kicked out by the people, and the cops are coming after me. I need to do something real quick, and I'm holding all this shit. I'm holding all this stuff, and the cops are coming after me. What am I gonna do? I need to look for a stupid American. Where can I find a stupid American? Hey, look, there's Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden. I bet that guy's kind of stupid. I bet I can trick that guy. Into holding all this shit that I'm holding. So Zolchevsky's holding all this fucking like dirty ass money, right? But he doesn't hand it off to Joe. He doesn't hand it to Hunter Biden. He puts it in all this dirty money, he puts it into Burisma. He puts it into this dirty company called Burisma and just leaves it there. And then on the other side, he's going to transfer it out into another country. But on the front side, he just dumps a bunch of dirty ass money in Burisma. His buddy, the president from Russia, got kicked out, and the cops are coming after him. So he finds Hunter Biden and drops him in right there. Says, "Hey, Hunter Biden, want to be on our board of directors?" cool, buddy, you're in. You don't even have to come to Ukraine. Just stay there. And then what happens to Zolchevsky, this guy? What does he do? Right after he gives the company, he signed, or he puts Hunter Biden on the company, right after that. In April 2014, the Serious Fraud Office of the United Kingdom froze 23 million belonging to companies controlled by Zolchevsky. And Zolchevsky fled Ukraine. He flees. Right after he puts Hunter Biden on the board, he fucking leaves. Right up here, in early November 2014, Deutsche Bank reports that 24 millions of funds from his companies were wired from Cyprus to the Latvia branch of Privabank, the bank co-owned by the oligarch in the Dnipropetrovsk region, Ihor Kolomovsky. He's like Russian. These are Russian, or these are like oligarch dudes. So they moved money out of Ukraine and over to like oligarchs. So he embezzles money out of Ukraine, 24 million, and over there to him, right? Then he named Hunter Biden to the board. Then he fled the country before the cops caught him, because the cops froze 24 million in the companies, because they're like, wait a minute, something shady is going on. So Hunter Biden was left holding the bag, is what I'm telling you. He was left holding the bag when this guy fucking embezzled a bunch of money from Ukraine and then dumped on Hunter Biden before he left. It was hilarious. And then he fled the country and like got away with it. It was pretty shitty, actually. All right, so you got that part, right? Let's go back to the first thing that prompted that whole thing. Back to this. Mykola Zolchevsky, remember him? Was the target of an investigation by former Ukrainian prosecutor Viktor Shokin. However, it became apparent to Ukrainian officials, U.S. officials, and EU officials that Viktor Shokin was intentionally slow-walking the investigation into Burisma and Mykola Zolchevsky. In other words, Viktor Shokin was on Team Russia, protecting the Russian dude, the pro-Russia guy. Therefore, the Obama administration and the EU agreed to withhold financial aid to Ukraine until they removed Viktor Shokin. Then Vice President Biden was the point man in the effort to get rid of Viktor Shokin. I have a video on this. Do I have it? Biden brags. This opened the door for Burisma and its owner, Mykola Zolchevsky, to be properly investigated by Ukrainian authorities and the aid of U.S. authorities under Donald Trump. But Mykola Zolchevsky fled Ukraine and is believed to be hiding out in either Monaco or Russia. You remember this whole thing, remember?
Convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over for, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I said, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid.
Yep. That's what this guy's talking about right here. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. Okay. Burisma owner Mykola Zolchevsky is currently hiding from the Ukrainian government and is a wanted man under suspicion of theft of government funds on an especially large scale. He embezzled 23 million out of the country. It is without a doubt that Mykola Zolchevsky has a big bone to pick with President Joe Biden, as it is the work of the Obama administration that paved the way for a proper investigation of Burisma. Now you can see Mykola Zolchevsky making claims to an FBI informant back in June of 2020 during the 2020 presidential election campaign, but no one can substantiate those claims. And of course, Mykola Zolchevsky won't come out of hiding. Yes, folks, this is nothing but Burisma 2.0. An already completely debunked conspiracy theory about Joe Biden being paid off to get rid of the corrupt prosecutor Victor Shokin to benefit his son Hunter Biden. So what you have here from the GOP is them taking the word of a wanted criminal with an already debunked conspiracy theory in some vain effort to rehash a long dead non-issue. It's like ridiculous. But people get easily conditioned and will go along with it, right? You can call people dumb to their faces and they won't even flinch. We can go, let's go to Rainbow Land. Rainbows. Nani? Bye-bye. All right. People can be absolutely conditioned and socialized into white supremacy. But Ms. Mary Wood discovered 2 videos that can identify which children have white supremacy because it makes them sick. That's how you can identify children who have white supremacy inside them. And then you can make a program to decondition the children so they no longer associate their bodies with white supremacy. That's the key, to break the conditioning that makes kids believe that their bodies are associated to white supremacy. Because it's not there. Their bodies are not associated to white supremacy. That kind of fake association only hurts them. It never helps them. So everyone's talking about how Donald Trump is going to prison. Or not going to prison, is in trial. And they want to say, oh, Donald Trump is getting a raw deal. Dudes, when Clinton was caught, he was offered essentially a plea deal. His deal was, if you admit to this, we won't indict you. And Clinton said, okay. In other words, Clinton submitted. He submitted to the Justice Department. Clinton submitted to the Justice Department, and did a plea deal. Clinton did not do an imperial presidency. Clinton did not hold the office of the presidency above the law. He did not hold the office of the presidency above accountability. Clinton submitted to the Department of Justice in the form of a plea deal. Otherwise, he could have drawn it out just as far as Donald Trump, but he chose not to. He chose to submit to a plea deal. So, what's this? What? The FBI's decision regarding Clinton's mishandling of classified emails once again proves that she is disqualified from being commander. Oh, this is why Donald Trump is unfit to be commander-in-chief. If Marco Rubio thinks that Clinton is disqualified because she had 3 emails with a little c on them that wasn't really classified, If that makes her disqualified, he must absolutely despise Donald Trump. He must fucking think Donald Trump's an imbecile. Donald Trump literally stole top secret documents out of the most secure place it could be and put them in a position where the spy base in Cuba could get them. Did he do it on purpose? I think so. If Clinton is disqualified, what is Donald Trump? A traitor. A traitor. Donald Trump's a traitor. But that's not what I was saying. What I was pointing to was this one. I met Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton took a plea deal. With just hours left in office, President Clinton reached a deal with the independent counsel yesterday that ensures he will avoid indictment for his misleading statements about Monica S. Lewinsky. In exchange, Clinton offered prosecutor Robert W. Ray something he had never before been willing to give, a forthright admission that he gave false testimony under oath. Clinton submitted. He could have been indicted. He could have went all the way like Trump, but he didn't. He did not. He did not drag the office of the presidency through that nonsense. Where's that other one I had? That makes you the one that says that just makes you an asshole. Where'd it go? It was the last week. Mike Pence found classified documents in his house, but he alerted the FBI. No big deal. Joe Biden found classified documents and alerted the Department of Justice. No big deal. Trump stole classified documents, hid them, and then refused to return them. Clinton lied under oath. And instead of fighting it, he finally submitted and admitted that he lied under oath so that he wouldn't be indicted. Trump wouldn't even give back the documents. The only reason why the Department of Justice indicted Donald Trump is because he gave them no choice. He gave them literally no choice. They gave Donald Trump every fucking way to get out of that. Every single possible way he could have gotten out of prison, he had. At any time, he could have given back the documents and it would have been done. Look what happened to these two. Nothing. Why? Because they gave them back. They're like, go ahead, look, search my shit. I don't care. Go ahead, do it. Not Donald Trump. He gave them back and he only gave back part of them. So what did the FBI do? Did they raid him? No. They asked him again. What? How many times are the police going to ask you to return stolen things that they know you have? Like, go ahead, rob a bank. Go ahead, do it. Rob a bank, go home, and wait for the police to call you and ask you to return the things you stole. Go ahead, I dare you. No, don't do it. That's a bad idea. Because you will get fucking, if not killed, you will be incarcerated for a long ass time. Don't do it. What I'm doing is drawing a juxtaposition between how the United States treats us, low people, and how it treats Donald Trump, a super elite. It gives Donald Trump every opportunity to get out of jail. We don't even have that kind of thing. If you or I tried to steal a document, they would not ask nicely. They would not ask nicely. They would throw our asses in jail. Look what happened to the forest defenders of Atlanta City. Like their jail fund got raided by the SWAT team, and they didn't even do anything. They were non-violent, dude. They were accused of financial crimes, and they sent the SWAT team after them. The fuck? And look, for financial crimes because you didn't pay the tab or something, dude. Like what? This guy stole top secrets from Washington D.C. and then lied about it. And the FBI is saying, "Pretty please give them back." Yeah, you're right. There's a two-tiered of system of justice. These guys are elites, and for us little guys, we wouldn't get that kind of opportunity. That's not right. That's not right. Yeah, we wouldn't get that opportunity. That James Textera guy is in prison now, dude. The one who stole top secret documents and then posted them on a Discord. That stupid. He was a Nazi. He was a pro-Russian Nazi, dude. Fuck that guy. Well, that traitor is now in jail now. Why isn't Donald Trump in prison? Donald Trump still has his passport. He's still allowed to travel around. He's still allowed to move around. He's not in prison. He didn't even have to take a mugshot or had to take fingerprints. Like, he gets super special treatment that you and I are never going to get. Man, that's fucked up. No wonder he felt so at ease breaking the law, because the law doesn't do anything to him. It's so gentle to him. We're so brutal to everyone else. Where was I? Confederate Rubio. The Department of Justice is seeking... No, this is incorrect. I gotta fix it. Dude, you're so wrong. Here, I will fix you, Rubio. I know you're having a hard time because you're a pro-Cuba guy, but you gotta know where your allegiances stand, homie. You got to know where they stand, and the way you're talking, I mean, it's telling me that you play more allegiance to Cuba than you do to the United States. What the fuck you doing, man? It's not the Department of Justice. See, maybe because I don't know. Are you trying to like paint a bad picture for immigrants? Are you trying to fucking make your people look bad, Rubio? Really? I mean, for real. Like, are you trying to say that Cubans are like special? Like, what's wrong with you, Rubio? You know, it's not the Department of Justice that's seeking to jail for life Donald Trump. It's not the Department of Justice, dude. You know, Rubio. You should fucking know, Senator Rubio. That is not the Department of Justice. It was regular citizens. It was regular people of Florida. It was regular people of Florida. Regular people on the jury decided there was enough there to indict Donald Trump. It wasn't the Department of Justice. I mean, do you need help, Rubio? What are you telling me? That you don't understand how it works here in the United States? Is that what you're telling me, Rubio? Are you closer to Cuba? Are you closer to China? Because China's got a base, a spy base in Cuba. Cuba lets them have that spy base in China. Real close to Mar-a-Lago, huh? Real close, Rubio. Maybe you don't understand. Are you a good representative for your people, Rubio? So the people of Florida, because that's who I indicted. It wasn't the DOJ. It wasn't Biden. It was the people of Florida. The people of Florida are seeking to jail for life. I think there ought to be capital punishment for Donald Trump. The people of Florida are seeking to jail not for life, not just a former president, but the leading opponent of the current president in the 2024 election. That is awesome. That is fantastic. That is fantastic. You know why? Because it shows me that it doesn't matter if Donald Trump is an elite. It doesn't matter if he's an elite. Regular people can hold him to account and hold him to the law. Apply the standard of the law to even the most powerful guys. Even a former president and the leading opponent even he is subject to the law. Bravo! 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 Fucking, can you do that, China? No, never. No. Can you do that, Saudi Arabia? No, never, 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 never. Can you do that, Russia? Never. Never, never, never. Shit. We can do it. We can do it. We can make it, dude. Why are you all hating on what we can make? I don't understand it. Just because we can make something and you can't, you gotta hate on us? Pfft, get out of here. Get out of here. Not even worth my time. You cannot create. You're fake. So the damage, Rubio continues. The damage this is already inflicting on our country. Whose country? Whose country? The damage of what? Of powerful people being held accountable. The damage of powerful people being held accountable. This is already inflicting damage on our country. It's not inflicting damage on the United States. How do I know? I'm an American. I know these things. It's not inflicting damage on the United States. In fact, it's strengthening it. Oh yeah, this is fucking great. This is great stuff for us. So, Rubio isn't talking about the United States. He's not talking about our country, the United States. No. Because it's not inflicting damage on us. He is talking about another country. What other country would you belong to, Rubio? What else would you belong to other than the United States? Who exactly are you referring to there, Rubio? So the damage this is already inflicting on Rubio's country. Yeah, I want to make that clear. Because it's not damaging us, right? On Rubio. The damage. Yeah, Neverland. Is that where you live? Rubio from Neverland, dude. Things are different here in the United States. Shit. All right. The damage this is already inflicting on Rubio's country far outweighs the damage, if any, from what they allege. Who's they? The Americans allege in this indictment. That's your opinion, Rubio. Let's review your statement, right? Let's review your statement. Because you had a few errors in your tweet, Rubio. I don't know if you're trying to be I don't think you're. Yeah. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say it, Rubio. You're a shitty representative of your people. You're a fucking shitty representative of your people. I know incredibly intelligent Cuban people. I know them. I know they exist. I've met them. They're beautiful. They're fucking brilliant. They're brilliant. They can string together ideas like tapestries that fucking mesmerize you. It's amazing. Cuban people are fucking fantastic. They're great. Are you Cuban, Rubio? I don't think you're Cuban, dude. I don't think you're Cuban. I think somewhere you might have started as Cuban, but somewhere along the line you lost it. You dropped it. Yeah, maybe you had to drop it to pick up something else. I don't know, right? What would cause you to not be Cuban? I don't know. I can't describe it, but I can tell by looking at you now, you are not Cuban. You're ridiculous. Let me be more clear. Cuban American. Cuban. I don't know what a Cuban like. Cuban. I don't know. Right? That's not me. Cuban American. I meant Cuban American. Because Cuban Americans understand what makes this country great and fantastic. They understand it. They know. They fucking really know, right? Why else would they be here? They know, right? So for you to not understand the most basic things of our country, I don't know if you're really a true representative of the Cuban American population in the United States, Rubio. I think you're a bad representative of the Cuban American population in the United States, Rubio, because you're shit. You're shit, Rubio. You're shit. Look at this shit. This is bullshit. Do you not understand how the justice system works here in the United States? It's not the Department of Justice. You're thinking of like Cuba under communism, where the government goes after people, where it's the government. You're thinking of what Donald Trump wants to do, which is weaponize government to go after his enemies. That's what you're thinking about, Rubio. You're projecting communist Russia onto the United States, because that's not how we do it here in the United States. Here in the United States, we do it differently. You can follow along, right? Because we have free press, so you're allowed to look and observe the whole process if you choose. You don't have to be ignorant. You don't have to be ignorant. Your people are not ignorant. The Cuban Americans are not ignorant. Why are you ignorant? Just look. Look. If you look, you will see, Rubio, Marco Rubio. Rufio. It was the people of Florida, drawn from your peers in the justice system. Every one of the states has a similar system where it's the people who decide to bring the indictment, not the Department of Justice, not the government. All the government does is present the information. That's all they can do. That's all they can do. It's up to the people to decide if it's warranted to go forward. But you, right, Rubio, you're stuck in your authoritarian mind frame. You're a terrible representative of the Cuban Americans. Fuck, I can't get over it. I can't get over how bad you are. God damn, it hurts me, man. It hurts me. Let me finish this, and I'll tell you why it hurts. All right, fuck. So the people of Florida have decided that the crimes committed against the United States are so severe that it's warranted to jail for life Donald Trump. Rubio has already decided that this has inflicted damage on his country, which is not the United States. If I think about it, Donald Trump was the best spy for China. The best spy for China. Because he was able to take out top secrets that no other person could have possibly gotten. No Chinese operative could have gotten into those secure facilities. No Chinese operative would have gotten that kind of detailed information. No Chinese operative would have had boxes and boxes and boxes of shit pulled out of DC and put in a place where they could get. No way, dude. Donald Trump is the best Chinese spy ever. So, the fact that there's an indictment on this best Chinese spy means the Chinese spy no longer can serve China. That's damage. That's damage. The damage the indictment has done to China, to Rubio's country, China, far outweighs the damage, if any, from what the Americans allege in the indictment. Because the Americans are saying, motherfucker stole our secrets that are super, super secret for a reason, because it would damage us if they found out. It's damaging if our enemies found out. That's why we know, right? The Americans are saying it. That's what the Americans said. Why is this top secret? Because if our enemies knew, it would damage us. It's like built in. God damn. Okay. The damage this is already inflicting on Rubio's country, China, far outweighs the damage from what the Americans allege in the indictment. Like, you can see clearly that Rubio is a fucking shitty fuckknuckle of a representative for the Cuban American people. They know way better than this guy. Fuck him. God damn. Now, you know why it hurts? Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. My dad died a couple years ago, like a year and a half ago. And it was like a long drawn out death, so it sucked because it was due to alcohol, and alcoholism. He could not stop drinking, even when he knew it was killing him. He just could not stop, and it literally rewires the brain. Like I want to like I have to forgive him because it literally rewires the brain. Alcohol. To the point where like you physically need it or you die. And it like he took a trip to see his dad like a few years like down to Mexico, and like it was really hard on him because he had to get like not get too drunk. But if he didn't have alcohol, he would go into seizures and have tremors and go into seizures. So and he like passed out a few times, and like it was a rough trip for him to get down there. Like I guess I should have went with him, but I don't know. I should have went with him. Oh well. Man, I was already having a hard fucking time there. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I wouldn't even take off time for myself. And it was killing me. Yeah, don't yeah, okay. Anyways, my dad, he had a hard life. Like and like I hope that his family gave him some joy and some love. I mean, he achieved the American dream. Like he fucking did it. He bought a house. He had like a social security check coming in every month. He had like savings. He had his own money. He had a boat. He had like whatever he wanted. But something was not right. Something was lacking. So and like none of the family could. We tried our best to do something to bring him back. I mean, like I didn't even live there, but I tried, and my family tried, and it just didn't work out. So that's the way it is. So that hurts me because like as time goes on, the older I get, the more I understand how it was like the sacrifices and the love that my parents gave me in order to get me to the place I am now. Like I would not even be here. I would not even have this consciousness at all if not for my dad, if not for my father. Like it was from his sacrifice, from his love, because for him it wasn't even a sacrifice. It was just love. It was just what he did. I mean, I can call it sacrifice, but he'll call it love. So yeah, like it's because of him that I'm able to even live, to have this life, and I'm grateful for it. Dads are great, man. So happy Father's Day. But the thing is that he is not from the United States. He was not from the United States. He was from Mexico. He was born in Mexico. And he lived a life of poverty growing up. I've gone beyond the 3-hour mark, so be careful, man. He lived a life of poverty, and when he was pretty young, like in his early 20s, like 20, 21, he made the fateful decision to go north for opportunities. Right? So, but back then in the 70s, like that just meant you just went. Like you just went, and then you just didn't go back. That's what it was, right? You just walked across the border, all right, and then you stay there, and then you just don't ever go back. Get a job and just don't go back. That's how easy it was, or it is, I guess, if you fly. But he came here with absolutely nothing. Like, not speaking English, not having education, because, you know, like, I think he only got up to, like, 8th grade education, if even that. He didn't get to go to high school. So he didn't have the high school experience. He didn't have the you know, the archetypical, like, going through high school years in America through the 50s and 60s. Yeah. No. He showed up with, like, nothing. And, yeah, he met my mom. And at that time, my mom had a kid. So it wasn't like nothing, right? She wasn't baggage free. He wasn't baggage free. Neither one of them were perfect. Neither one were perfect. But yo, he fell in love. He fell in love with her, and he fell in love with the baby that she had. And he's like, yo, I will devote my life to fucking making these people happy. And that's what he did. And that kid that he fell in love with, that kid was me. That kid was me. And because of a life filled with giving his love to me, I am fucking great. And I'm great because he gave his love to me. Thanks, Dad. I love you, Dad. I don't know if I didn't say it enough, if I didn't say it in the right way that you would get it. I don't know if you ever even watched these videos ever. Like, or if you did, if you even understood them. Like, so yeah, appreciate your dads, especially when they're here, especially the good ones. Dads make mistakes, dudes. My dad was not perfect. Let me tell you. And some of that not perfectness, like, you know, what can you do? But, like, we're all human, right? And the love outshined the not perfectness, the mistakes. So yeah, appreciate your dad. Tell your dad you love them. Okay. Moving on. What do we got here? Check it out. There's a lag. There's a lag between passing laws and things happening. And that's just the way it works. Because, like, the federal government's big. Making it turn is like trying to turn the Titanic. It's really hard. And really what you need, if you want to make a big turn, you need continual pressure in a certain direction. So, for example, when the Dems had their trifecta, when the Democrats had their trifecta in 2022, they passed the Infrastructure Act, and they passed the Inflation Reduction Act, the Manchin Inflation Reduction Act, and they passed the Biden infrastructure bill. So it takes a while. But all of that money is starting to finally get shoved into the private sector now, in the form of, like, construction, to rebuild roads and shit. All our infrastructure. Our infrastructure has been fucked up. It's not been spending in line with spending. So that's good that now that we're starting to get money into our office. The problem now is that, like I said, turning the government is like steering the Titanic. You need continual pressure, not just once, but continual pressure. So Democrats had control of trifecta of 2020 to 2022. Then somehow Republicans got power in 2023 in the House, and they stopped everything. Like, no one even talks about the Senate anymore because all the drama is in the House, where Republicans can't even pass a budget and almost cause the country to go into default because they can't pass bills. Like, nothing's being done. And then you look at the House Republicans even further, and you're like, dude, they're filled with crazy people. They have Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert. They have fucking that George Santos guy who's a total fraud. Like, what the hell is going on? How is it that they even have power? How is it that even happens? Alabama, where is it? And then we find out. Where'd it go? Alabama. Supreme Court, Alabama. Supreme Court, Alabama. Supreme Court, Alabama. Supreme Court, Alabama. Qu'est-ce que c'est? I'm gonna have to like trim out all these like dead spots in my video. Supreme Court, Alabama. Where'd it go? Oh yeah, that was last week. Alabama, remember Alabama? Through a secret ruling, the Supreme Court let Alabama keep its racist maps. And because Alabama and a few other places, Louisiana and other places, kept their racist maps, Republicans won in those districts. And because Republicans won in those districts, the control of the House flipped from Democrats to Republicans. It changed the makeup of the House of there was damage because the Supreme Court, ruled by Republicans, made a secret court case that let these racist controlled states use racist maps to get to win the House of Representatives in 2022. Basically, the only reason this GOP has current control of the House is because the Supreme Court said, we'll think about it when it came to deciding on this case. So states were allowed to use racially gerrymandered maps for the last midterms. Remember how I told you it takes a lot of pressure, continuous pressure, to turn the Titanic? Republicans know this. So what did they do? Remember, the Supreme Court is corrupt. Harlan Crow is a billionaire who owns Clarence Thomas. So they have a bunch of like free votes on the Supreme Court, and they used their power on the Supreme Court to let the racists use racist maps so that the Democrats would not have 2 years of trifecta power. Imagine if the Democrats had 2 years worth of trifecta power. They already passed awesome bills that increased our infrastructure. They already forgave student loans. They already like solved inflation. They all it's amazing what they've done compared to when Republicans had trifecta. What did they do? They cut taxes for billionaires and they banned books. So it's super clear that the United States don't give up faith because things don't happen quick. You have to look at things on a longer time frame. Don't give up hope. Do not become demoralized, because when you become demoralized, you sound like a right-wing loony bin who can't string along ideas anymore. Yeah. Hold on to your constant. Where am I at? I'm all over the place. That's where I'm at. Defund the police. Literally, defund the police. I need to make something in this world that says defund the police. For real. Because look at juxtaposition. Juxtaposition is the is the weird feeling you get when two contradictory things are placed next to each other. They're like in contrast, and the contrast is jarring. It fucks with your mind. Look what's happening here. Two stories from the New York Times. 3 years after Floyd's death, defund the police movement has faltered. Defund the police became a rallying cry after George Floyd's death, but efforts to do away with conventional policing have largely been abandoned. They've been ignored. They've been ignored. Not that they've been abandoned. We're still saying defund the police, but we're being ignored. And then, right after that, there was a white supremacist attempt to overthrow the government so that you would never defund the police if you don't control the government anymore. Defund the police is predicated upon a democratic government. If you don't have a democratic government, you will never defund the police. So defund the police didn't get abandoned. It got supplanted by an even more grave threat, which is a total coup of democracy. That was the grave threat we have to address. So this idea, this story, saying, oh yeah, we're just going to give up on the defund the police thing, that is juxtaposed against this story. Minneapolis police used abusive practices for years, Justice Department finds. The Justice Department accused Minneapolis police of discriminating against Black and Native American people in a damning report. That's right. That in the same breath that they say defund the police is over, there's a report saying that the police were totally fucking corrupt and brutal, and that they need to be like dismantled. In the same breath, how can you do that, dude? Are you so blind? Are you so blind? You're not so blind. You're demoralized. You're demoralized. It's the whole Soviet conditioning. Yuri explained exactly what you're doing, and you're doing it, right? You're doing it. You're doing it. Even when it's proven black and white, you can't get it. You can show people. I can show the New York Times that police brutality is off the charts, and yet New York Times will still say that it's ridiculous to defund the police. There's no getting through to them because they're demoralized. Understand what's happened to them and understand you can change it. You become remoralized. You can come back. It's not, Yuri says it's over, but it's not over, dude. That was like 30, 40 years ago. Technology has changed. Times have changed. Communications have changed. Relations to one another have changed. We can save those people. Anyways, where was I at? Defund the police. Oh yeah, Minneapolis, dude. Look at this shit. Compared to white people behaving similarly, black people are stopped by Minneapolis Police Department, are subjected to 22% more searches, 37% more vehicle searches, and 24% more uses of force. Just because they're black. Not because they're doing anything different, but just because they're black. And there's less of them than there are white people. So that's a whole bunch. That's a whole bunch. You need to do it a whole bunch more. You have to target it if you want to get it to that point. You can't just be at random, right? If it were random, it would be equally throughout. But it's not random. The police target black people to hurt them. And it's not a conjecture. I'm not just saying this. The Department of Justice did a study about it, and you can all read it. Compared to white people behaving similarly, Native American people were stopped by Minneapolis Police Department, are subjected to 23% more searches, 20% more uses of force. Just for being Native American, you're more likely to get beat up by the police. You're more likely to be searched, to give the police a reason to beat you up. To give the police a reason for you to say something that ticks them off, that triggers the police enough for them to use force. Because all you have to do is trigger them and they'll beat the crap out of you. And you never know what triggers them. In fact, they're trying to get you to trigger them. Look what happened in the police department. After the murder of George Floyd, the incidences of police brutality didn't stop. The Minneapolis police department didn't change its behavior once it was revealed how brutal and how fucked up it was that they were murdering people in the streets. No! What did they do? They stopped reporting it. Kept on doing it, just stopped talking about it. The data was all filled out, all this much, and then George Floyd happened, and then they stopped talking. The police just stopped talking. Blue line of silence. There's a reason why we say defund the police, because the police are not on our side. Part 3. Check this shit out. In addition to the taser incidences, we reviewed as part of our sample. In addition to the taser incidences we reviewed as part of our sample, we also reviewed an incident that occurred during one of our ride-alongs. They were riding with the police department when this happened. During the incident, an MPD officer used a taser on an unarmed black man who was yelling and filming an accident scene. When the man did not follow the officer's commands to leave the scene, the officer pointed his taser and threatened to fire it. The man raised his hands and began walking backwards away from the accident scene as he continued to film and yell at the officers. The officer advanced on the man and shot him with the taser, causing the man to fall to the ground. The man was following commands to leave and was away from the scene, so there was no apparent need for the officer to use a taser. So these cops knew they were being watched with the ride-along and fucking would harass and torture people anyways. Because the police are corrupt. There's a reason why we say defund the police. You can't save it. You can't save it. You cannot save it. You have to remake it from the ground up. Reconceive it in a manner totally unknown yet homegrown. Better than commercial. This poem stone stripped across perception ponds like a well-thrown ray of hope. Ray of hope. Ray of hope. Hope without action is faith which is blind to the lie of peace and stagnation. Quick, change the station. Rearrange it. Get not caught up in the hip-hop board variation, often replicated in commercial email banners and radio jingles. I'm no big system planner. Henry Kissinger, that motherfucker, was a master puppeteer programmer, but I'm just one more poem slammer with the mannerisms befit whatever the ideal permits. Here, I quit. I'm gonna do this. Understand what's going on. We can do better than this. We can do better than this. This is bullshit. Defund the police. Defund the police. We can do way better than this nonsense. And we will save money. We're not doing it for the benefit of George Floyd. We're not doing it for the benefit of black people. We're doing it because it saves money and is way more effective. There will be less crime. There will be less crime, less resources used in order to take care of this, which means lower taxes. You don't have to pay as much in taxes. Look how great it is for you, not for me, not for them. Look how good it is for you to defund the police. The police cost you ridiculous amounts of money. It's not for my benefit, it's for your benefit that you defund the police. All right, so how long have I been going? 3.5 hours. I got more stuff here, but I don't have time or energy. I gotta cut out a bunch of stuff because, like, a bunch of dead air. Like, it's not even a Minecraft show at this point. What else do I got? Oh yeah, it was the point. Where's that hilarious? It's like a quick point. Am I in the wrong place again? Your mind makes it real. My theory is, by Lolanu, my theory is every Gen X person read a Stephen King book way too young, and that's why they are the way they are. So, I was 14 when I moved away from Los Angeles, from the Bay Area, from the South Bay Area, from Gardena, and I moved to Carson City, Nevada. Right after I moved to Carson City, Nevada from Los Angeles, I picked up the unabridged version of The Stand by Stephen King. I had never read a Stephen King book before that. And I read that whole book in like 4 days. Because I had nothing else to do. I had nothing else to do. I had no friends, nowhere to go, no one to call, no one to see. I had nothing. I didn't even live in the city. I lived in a rural area. There was like nothing. There was nothing. I could ride my bike to the desert and ride around the desert. But it was hot, so I didn't want to do it. And there were rattlesnakes. So I was afraid. And I read The Stand when I was 14. Anyways, where did I move from? I moved from Los Angeles. And I went to school in the LA County School District. That was where I went to school. LA County School District. But it wasn't just all fun and games, because I hit high school. And when I hit high school, like, there were some concerns. There were some concerns about my safety going to an LA County school. There were some concerns my parents had about sending me to an LA County high school. And moreover, my mom had just gotten a job in the Redondo Beach School District as a teacher's aide, so that she was going down to Redondo Beach anyways, right? She was going down there anyways, and it was questionable about how I would do in our local middle school and high school. To that end, and she had a friend who lived in the next district over. So that she's like, hey friend, how about we use your address just to write on the forms, just to say that my son is a resident of your district and therefore can legally go to the school where I am teaching, where I am like working anyways. Why don't I just do that? Why don't we just do that? And the friend's like, okay, friend, we'll do that. But me, being a little kid, I have absolutely no idea, no conception of any of what's going on. Any of this. All I know is that I'm going to a school that I'm not really supposed to be at, and that I have an address that's not really my address, and I don't really know what it is. But I have to pretend that I belong in this school. Anyways. Understand, my dad is like an illegal immigrant who's working at a minimum wage job in like the industrial region of like suburb of like LA County. Who only had an 8th grade education. And I lived in like the industrial region of this area, right? Like by next to like Northrop and like the steel factories and the oil refineries and shit. That's where I lived. And I had to pretend that I lived in a richer part of town while going to like a beach school. Like who lives in Southern California on the beach? Not me. What am I doing there? Lying my ass off. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. That whole time, dude. Oh my god. Oh my god, it hurt. So there I was, my whole fucking life, like as a little kid growing up, living like this lie that I live in a place that like there was one time in school where, like, in geography, right? It's a geography lesson. Let's do a geography lesson. Basic geography lesson. Here's a map. Here's the school. You know where you live. Tell us, how do you get to school? My address isn't even on the map. Oh my god! But I have a pretend address. So, where's my pretend address? What's the route I take from my pretend place where I live? I don't even know where it is. Oh my god, dude, it was so bad. So the teacher's like, yeah, this kid's pretty smart, but he's like really stupid. He just doesn't understand the map thing. I wonder why. He gets everything else, but not the map thing. Why? Man, God, that was awful. That was awful. Holy shit. And then it gets worse. And then I go to high school. But I'm not going to go to the high school where I live. No way, dude. And my mom doesn't work there anymore. So I can't say that my mom works there. That's why I go there. But my mom's friend keeps letting us use their address. Kind of scary because they live like 2 blocks away from the school. Oh my god. And I'm saying, oh yeah, I live there. Oh boy. Anyways, so for some reason, like, I go back to my old high school, or my old junior high, the beach school, to do something, like see a friend. I forget why. See my mom at work. I forget, whatever. But I'm there, and my old 6th grade teacher comes out and says, "Oh, hey, Robert, how you doing? How's high school over there in the beach high school? Because that's where you go based on where you live in this district." So he just assumes, right? Or not that he assumes, but I said it or something. I gave a name, not the high school that I actually go to, like which is North High, because like I don't really understand if that's like in the right place to be. So I'm trying to keep up the facade that I belong where I belong here. So I'm sitting there lying to my fucking teacher, and he knows it because he sees me fumbling the whole thing. And I'm like, I gotta go, run away. But it's too late, right? He can't get me anymore because he's not my teacher anymore. But still, I'm a kid, dude. He's just someone I respect. Oh shit, dude, it sucked. It was awful. Anyways, the reason why I am the way that I am is in part because I did not go to the school I was supposed to. I went to the rich school. I went to a school whose property taxes were paid by millionaires. Like a little bit. Not my entire school period, but for a little period. I should have went to a place where to a school where the property taxes were paid by like working class people. But I didn't. I went to a school where property taxes were paid by millionaires. So I had a very, very different education than my peers, my economic peers. Right? I'm a poor kid in a place that shouldn't have been there. I was a poor kid in a rich school. And it didn't really change once we moved. Once we moved to Nevada. Like, it was a little more mixed, but it still had a bunch of rich kids, like super, super rich kids. But it was rural rich. It was a different kind of rich than beach rich. Oh my god, man! The Southern California. Oh my god! All right, my head. Yeah, then I read Stephen King. That's why I'm a little bit different. Alright, I've been going for almost 4 hours, so I think I'll end it here. I have enough material for like a pirate episode, but anyways, I hope I impressed upon you that racist kids who get sick while watching videos about racism aren't racist themselves. They have inside of them a conditioning to racism that connects them, a psychic connection to racism that's not really there, but it's been conditioned into them. And we have the capacity and the duty to break that conditioning so that they can be free and not have this phantom pain hounding them their entire lives. Because who wants to feel shame for being what you are? Like, that's terrible. That's terrible. No one should feel shame for being what you are unless you're a Nazi. Fuck you if you're a Nazi. But yeah, white supremacists, fuck you. You should be totally ashamed. But if you are what you are, like what you're born like as, there's no shame in that. There's no shame in being white. There's no shame in being black. There's no shame in being Native American. There's no shame in being Asian. There's no shame in being Italian. There's no shame in being Samoan. There's no shame in being anything, guys. That's what you are. This is what you are. That's the whole point. Other people want to put shame upon you for being a certain way, like if you're not if you're gay or not manly enough or not womanly enough, or if you're not like sufficiently attired for your gender or whatever, whatever reason they want to put shame on you. That's bullshit. There's no shame in being who you really are. There is shame for having stupid ideologies like white supremacy. Like Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio should be utterly ashamed. He is shameful. He is shameful. Like Cuban Americans should point to him and laugh. Dude, my dad fucking after he came here and worked his whole life, he went to school after only 8 years of education and being functionally illiterate. He put himself through school in order to become a U.S. citizen, and he became a citizen, and he voted. His vote fucking mattered. I can't believe you would fucking take that away. I can't believe you would take it away. Creeper! That's what you did, Donald Trump. That's what you did, Republicans. You tried to take away my dad's vote. Fuck you. He worked hard for the American dream. He became a citizen. He was a citizen. He had every right to vote, and you took that away from him. Fuck you. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. Especially the fathers who aren't coming back. Who did everything so my dad could vote. How could you do that? That's betrayal. That's treason. That's why we should consider capital punishment for Donald Trump. All right. Togo Kiddo out. Peace.